Welcome to another episode of Around the Mage Table. This is episode 72 of the podcast for the rest of us. I want to say hello to everyone. We'll start with Scrap Claw because you have been
I never
on a
get
big...
started with.
I know, I was going to say, I was going to make a joke there, not going to. You have been on a big Minecraft kick, so we'll start with you.
Yes.
Talk about how Minecraft February is going for you.
Plenty of time to still join the Minecraft fun, it's not a game where you're gonna be behind somebody. Everybody's playing it in their own time. Some people are starting right now. It's just a lot of fun. We're just mining, we're crafting. People are building amazing things like roads and beautiful, really 2012 castles, and we've got a beach house.
Did you say 2012 castles? You making
Yeah.
fun of somebody?
Making fun of Leo.
No, I'm just sick saying what it looks like to me. Also, Lee hasn't logged on for a while, and now it's like a half-done 2012
Leo has a new game he's
castle.
playing. I don't know what it's called, but he's got a new game.
He'll be back, I'm sure.
Yeah.
It's a
Leo
long
hard
February. So I need to actually, after the podcast, I need to lay out some goals for us, Frank. We're going to talk about it afterwards to get you back in the Minecraft.
I will say we only have 3 weeks though until the game.
So we need to get you going quicker. If we're
All
gonna
right,
progress.
you know what? I'm really upset. I didn't get to see the chicken.
I know.
Inside
Frank, you said
jokes that
nothing
no
about
one-
the chickens.
If you want to play Minecraft with us, remember aroundthemagetable.com. Lithian finally added a Discord link there. You can jump in and ask for the code. We're hopefully not going to hand it out to anyone willy-nilly. I ask you with a total playtime of 1 minute on the Minecraft server. How you doing, bud?
Yeah, what the fuck?
Good.
I ask you.
Been playing TBC Classic. Been going pretty hard into that. As you can
Is that
see,
Zanger Marsh behind you, or is that Shatrath?
I'm in a
No,
Shatrath.
Yeah.
I'm
Shatrath,
in
I'll say it's
Shatrath right now. So
Okay, good for you, man.
Talador.
How's Khadgar doing in there?
he's pretty good. He looks a lot different than he does nowadays, but his legs work, so that's the most important thing.
Wow.
I
Huge.
feel like vanilla Khadgar or BC Khadgar looks worse, older than current Khadgar.
He
Yeah.
does. I like how new Khadgar looks, but I don't know. There's something about like that old like wizardy especially with like the older graphics. I don't know. It's a vibe. It's different.
Yeah.
I can't remember with the lore. Is Khadgar like not gonna age like Medivh? Like does he have the guardian powers, or is he just being the guardian? Lore people tell me.
He's Dad Guardian, dude. He's got
Yeah, I
that-
know he's like taken on the role of the
Ugh.
guardian, but the guardians were like a whole ass thing that would like live for 800 years and stuff.
Don't entirely know, to be honest, but I think
Tell
that
us in the comments.
sounds like something somebody would
Tell,
say.
tell us in the comments if Khadgar's gonna live 800 years like Aegwynn did.
Speaking of living 800 years, does that count as toxic? That was a joke, and I need to...
You're riding the edge.
All right,
Wow.
all right, we're at the edge there. That'll be my
Wow.
warning shot. Lithian, how you doing today,
A
bud?
warning shot? How's that a warning shot?
Well, I saw the line for the joke, and
Respect-
it wasn't meant to
respect
be an
your
actual,
elders.
Anyways, how you doing, Lith? How's your
I'm good,
Minecraft game
man.
going? I think you've got, what, 600 hours already in?
No, I got about 20. I don't know how to play. I never got into Minecraft when all those other people did, and it's like a kid's game. Like
I'm
I hear
teaching you though, right?
5-year-olds. I hear 5-year-olds play it all the time. I drown like 10 times in a row, and Scrap made
Hold
fun
on,
of me.
I'm going to put a
and-
clip in right here where Scrap and I are down in this cave, minding our own business, and Lithian just falls from the sky for no reason that we can tell, and immediately
take,
dies, and immediately respawns. He's just too embarrassed to acknowledge it.
Yeah, don't fall in lava, dude. But come down. I have a.
Oh.
What the fuck is... Did he just try to clutch that?
You can take falling damage. Apparently, it's
Yeah. Well, but
Yeah.
the clip that I want Frank you to track down is when the first time you look at an Enderman and you just like panic. I
Oh
was
my
looking for that. I
gosh.
couldn't find it.
I'll go look for
Yeah.
it. Try to get it.
Yeah.
I will say, the years ago when the Enderman first came out, I knew what they were about, but even then I still wasn't prepared for the first time I encountered one. It's really scary if
It
you
is.
don't know what's going to happen.
It's so funny because Frank, he looked at the Enderman once and he's scared, but anytime he's like near one, he's like, oh my god, it's
I'll just look
standing
at the
next to me.
ground.
It's right next to me.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
I can't
Look at
look
the
at
ground.
it. Like he like panics. I'm like,
Well-
dude, it's okay, just don't look at it.
I never knew the rule, right? So I played
Right.
Minecraft before and I've been killed by it, but I never knew like why it triggered because I'll be like, oh, it's just
Yeah.
sitting next to me, not giving a shit.
Yeah.
And then first 5 minutes of us playing, I get hunted down by this Enderman, and he's just like teleporting and looking at me like all terrifyingly.
You started it though. That's the point.
Some of them
And-
will troll you. You'll be like hitting a block and they'll
Yeah.
just like teleport in front of you and then you'll hit them
Yeah.
and they'll be like, ah, you fucker. And I'm like,
Yeah.
ah.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, and
needless
then-
to say, oh, go ahead.
No, go on.
No, I'm saying, needless to say, we got plenty of space on the server for anybody who wants to join. So
Yeah. I've discovered that I'm only about building the walls to the cave while everyone else goes spelunking in them. I don't I don't know. I don't. There's some sort of
We need
anxiety of having to have 600 torches to go down deep
we need
and
to work on that
find your way
because
back.
we need to get into the Nether if we need to progress. And I don't trust you in the Nether because you can't. Don't trust you with a zombie right now. So we need to do some training arc or
Me,
something
I'm level 26. Come on.
from the chickens.
No, I got like 3 levels from that. All right.
Also,
Anyways,
it's not a
3.
flex.
There was like
I
100
want to
chickens
also
there.
say thank you again. We've been on a really good run of some episodes with y'all's engagement. So continuing to thank you guys. You're doing awesome. Great comments. They're engaging. We love talking with y'all. One of the comments called out, and actually I think this was maybe on Spotify or YouTube. I can't remember. But it was asking us to talk a little bit more about our experience in game. Like what kind of background do we have in the game? And so I wanted to take a second to talk also about this new add-on that's been popping up all over the Twitterverse for WoW, which is called Account Played. And we'll start with Lithian. Your account played. Can you give us some details onto what's going on in this bar graph here?
Let me pull it up really quick. Yeah. No, so I started out playing Paladin and Priest way back in the day with the OG Pi group. And I
You've been
rated
playing
as
since how long?
huh?
When did you officially start World of Warcraft?
I was in beta, like the original,
Yeah, vanilla beta. Okay.
because I was coming from EverQuest. I'm older than y'all, so I was coming from EverQuest into World of Warcraft. I got into like some of the beta stuff, and we did the original. I've played since the game came out all the way to now, and I started out as Paladin Priest a lot. Then I hit my Druid arc at some point. I don't even remember when. But I played Guardian Druid quite a lot, and Feral. I love Feral. I wish it was better. Going in midnight, it's not looking so hot. So, but yeah. And then I kind of Brewmaster Monk was fun. My Rogue was the first character I ever created, and I hate playing it every single time, but I still level it anyways. Went through a Demon Hunter arc. BDH was fun. Blood Death Knight, a lot of fun. You notice like all the tank classes except for Warrior, I enjoyed a lot, and I played them a lot. And
Yeah, it's actually
then,
VDH you played a lot considering that it's been out, even less than half the time
oh
that
yeah,
Death
dude,
Knight has.
I loved when Spirit Bomb was awesome. I loved it. I played it a lot. And then yeah, the other classes are kind of they're there. Evoker, obviously, I played that the least because I'm terrible at all things
Well,
like DPS and healing.
it's only been out 2 expansions, and you have half the time Hunter, which is out since vanilla. So
Hunter, I hate.
10 days.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Well, I mean, that's like
Yeah,
200
it's
hours, so it's nothing. When I see like 10 days, I'm like, Psh, that sucks, but that's like over 200 hours, so it's a good amount of
I
time
mean,
played still.
I did have a kid in
Yeah.
between all this, so my playtime isn't as long as others, but yeah, no, it's good. I mean, I can remember way back when I first started all the way to now, so it's pretty neat to see something like this.
cool. All right, Ioski, you're one of the newer bloods brought into WoW. Tell us about your
Yep.
template.
Yep. Let me actually get it up here. I gotta do the thing here. Yep. So this screenshot here from my time played. So this account right now is my third WoW account. My very first WoW account I bought to play with friends in high school.
What expansion was it?
And it was so we right into TBC like a couple months before Wrath came out.
Okay.
So on that I mostly just played a paladin, and I wasn't really vibing with the game as much back then, and I had another friend that wanted to try it, so they ended up falling in love with it, and I just said, hey, like I think you can switch the account info over when they did like the real ID or whatever, so
Yep.
we just had them do that once they decided they wanted to take it on, so I let them have it because they'd ended up doing a bunch of stuff with the character, so I figured that it would be mean to take it away if I ever did want to play. And then a couple of years after that, I did end up wanting to try it again, so that's when they had like the battle chest out. So that was my second WoW account. And then eventually I ended up losing the password for that. But then years later, I wanted to play again. Didn't have the password for that one, but had one that I made for Hearthstone. So I just put WoW on that. So now that's what this account is.
If you were to guess how much
so-
time played you have across the 3 accounts.
So across the 3 of them, so this one I think we said was like 160 some days or something. I'd say probably like it still under a year, but maybe closer to like 300 days, I'd imagine.
I don't know why I ask you. I thought you had like only come to WoW recently. I didn't know you've been playing on and off. Since TBC.
On and off since TBC. A lot of it's just been leveling characters, trying to catch up to my friends who were always like the max level. And when you're doing that, not people don't always have time to come down and play with you.
Sure.
So I would just kind of get bored over time.
Yep.
And then what ended up really getting me into WoW was I think so this account I made in BFA, but that was like near the end right before Shadowlands, and then I was like, oh, wait till Shadowlands comes out, then I'll get really into it, but that never ended up happening. But then me and my friend ended up getting into Wrath Classic because he was one who played back in the day and was really into it and really liked Wrath. So
and Wrath is a banger of expansion to get into.
yeah,
Absolutely.
so we both started at level 1, and actually having someone to play with finally would get to 80 and then do stuff, and then that's when I always fell in love, because I always really wanted to try raiding because it's one of the few things that you can do in WoW that you can't do in any other video game. So that's something I was always really excited to try. So once I did that, I fell in love with it, and then Dragonflight was coming out shortly after that, and I started playing it. And I didn't play a whole lot of Dragonflight at first. I made an evoker just because it was higher level, so I would have like a max level character. But then once our Wrath Guild kind of died, then I started playing. I made a paladin and started playing a lot more, and then everything else on this, other than the priest, is pretty much been since that since playing then.
Yeah.
The priest was the character I was playing in BFA for a little bit, so that has higher playtime just because of that. But yeah, so mostly been playing retail seriously since Dragonflight.
Yeah, I was gonna say. So you wouldn't say, and it's interesting because you came in. I mean, you've played since TPC, so it's not like you weren't familiar with the game in its previous states. But what really brought you into the idea of like making WoW a favorite of yours is the idea of the classic rebranding or rebuilding, right?
Right.
Well, that's I hear about it, and
There you
obviously
go.
that's the strategy. That's the strategy Blizzard wants, is bringing classic back so people come back and then they go, you know what, I'll go give retail a try, and then you become a donkey like the rest of us.
Did I wonder how many
Exactly.
people come because it's like their guild breaks up in Classic and they're like, well, I still want to play WoW. Let me
Yeah.
try this new kind of WoW and see if it's good or anything.
Yeah,
You
I'm
know?
sure it's a lot. I mean, it's the reason why they are funneling.
I think
Classic.
it's more. Oh, a lot of people. I thought you were saying it's a lot to get into. I'll say it's.
No,
I think it's more beginner friendly than Wrath Classic. Like
Yeah.
retail, it definitely
Not
is.
so much in the like Miss or whatever it's in right now, but yeah. All
Oh,
right,
yeah.
Scrap, give us your
Oh, let
account
me spell
played.
mine. So mine is like almost a year. This has been my only account, and I did play in Classic. Although the first endgame character I ever played was in Wrath, and that was my druid. So I was actually surprised how much time played I had on my druid, because I only played that for like one expansion, but I did level it from 1 in Classic WoW and in Burning Crusade, and that takes some fucking time for sure.
Right.
And then I was playing it in college, and I had a lot of downtime, I guess. So,
Yeah.
but one thing that was kind of funny is the most individually played character I had was Scrapclaw, my warrior, at 99 days. But I have 146 days on Hunter because I have 6 hunters. So
You're one of those people.
yeah, well,
Oh
because
my
my
God.
first character ever, my first classic character ever was a Tauren Hunter. And then I would just, like we mentioned before, when somebody, a friend of yours was like, hey, we're playing WoW, but we're playing on this server and we're playing Alliance stuff. It's like, well, I can't remember if character transfers were non-existent or more
Yeah.
inaccessible or something.
They were
But like
non-existent at the time.
non-existent, yeah. So it was like, okay, well, I'll like I want to play Hunter. I'll just like make another one. So I had 6 total, and 2
You
with
kept getting
substantial
baited into
playtime.
another server with your friends.
Yeah. No, I literally have 4 Tauren Hunters that all kind of look the same. I have 2 Braylons. Like I have a Braylon on Emerald Dream and a Braylon on whatever the fuck server I'm on now, Proudmoore. But yeah, so I always come back to it. I love my Hunter.
What was everyone's first server they played on?
Durotan.
Proudmoore.
Bleeding Hollow.
Mine was Arthas, I think we played on.
Arthas. It took me a second to remember. Bleeding Hollow. There's like nobody on that fucking server.
All right.
Oh, sorry. Ghostlands, actually. Bleeding Hollow is was what I played my Deathland on. Ghostlands. Have
Oh.
you ever even heard of that server before?
No,
I mean,
never.
I haven't heard of like
It's a
any of the
BC
real
server.
servers. Usually people pick one and then they're like, that's their server. Moonguard you hear about, and Proudmoore you hear about, because it's like so
That's
much
how
is going
I
on.
ended up on Emerald Dream, is because it was like an RP PvP server. And that was the first server where I was like, I knew what it was and I got into it. Every other server was like, people were like, hey, my buddy's got a character and we're making a guild, woohoo. And then I'd get to end game and everybody else would have quit. I'd be like, oh, okay.
I don't remember if it was like serious or if it was just a coincidence, but I know like Asmongold and a lot of other people played on Kel'Thuzad back in the day. But I don't know if I think that might have been like a random coincidence. I don't think that
and
was like a
people would be flocking to the old guilds or the servers that had like the old world first guilds,
Yeah.
Right.
even back in BC and
Mhm.
Naxxramas and all that stuff. But I couldn't remember. I can't even remember what like Liquid's server is right now.
I think it's Illidan.
Yeah, that sounds right. I like it,
Oh,
but I don't remember
yeah.
it. Like I just don't, it's
Right.
whatever.
Right.
Especially nowadays where you can cross faction. So
Yep.
for me, I have been a Blizzard fan since like the day I got my first computer. StarCraft 1, Warcraft 3, all of it. Diablo 2, like those games. Just every weekend I get home from school and we would just play till 7 a.m. and then go to sleep and wake up and play it again. When World of Warcraft came out, I had just played Asheron's Call, which was like, another old style MMO. And I was like in love with that game style. So when WoW was announced, I was like, I have to play. I got in the beta like Lithian. I played nonstop. Vanilla, I was very casual, like most of us all were. I joined a guild and I raided. We got up to Blackwing Lair. We did a little bit of AQ, and then, it just like was a little too hard for all the casual people in the guild who just didn't really want to worry about being good. BC came out. That's when I was like probably playing my most. No joke, I was in college at the time. I almost failed out of college like 4 semesters in a row because I would just play nonstop. I had a friend who was our guild raid tank. And I remember we did one of the dungeons in Netherstorm where it dropped the Sun Eater, which was a sword. And he wanted it so badly, and I'm not joking. We ran it like 250 times, and it never dropped for him.
Wow.
Yeah.
I was gonna say I don't want to encroach on your story, but I have some really good memories of playing WoW in college, because that's when Wrath came out, and my internet was so bad in my dorm that I would take it to, there was like a commons area with like a bunch of auditoriums and study areas and stuff, and I would plug in my Ethernet cable hard line to a spot underneath a stairwell, like literally like in a maintenance hallway, and I would raid in like a maintenance hallway plugged into an Ethernet jack underneath the steps to raid in the middle of the fucking night. Like,
wow.
Yeah, I'd be up. I remember it because this is like when Futurama was on Adult Swim, and I would just grind Futurama till like 5 a.m., 6 a.m. every day. Would run dungeons. We weren't very good because it was the same guild I had.
Yeah, we weren't
Vanilla.
very good either.
Then my really good friend, his name was Wipeout. He had started dating this girl in the guild, and things just went like sideways very quickly for that guild. Leo, who we've talked about, he was in the guild with me, right?
Shut up.
So everything fell apart there. It was like right at the end of Burning Crusade, like the whole ecosystem broke apart. But I of course loved WoW. Grinded the hell out of Lich King or Wrath of Lich King. I tried to do my own guild thing there. Ulduar, best raid ever, right? But then from that point forward, I was still always playing, but like not nearly as much. I played Dota more than anything at that point. And then of course Legion came out, and Legion was a banger. Played nonstop BFA because at the point I just like was starting to do Mythic Plus, which is my favorite game type.
Yeah, the best.
Then I met
That's when I
these
got
donkeys
into
in Shadowlands, and the rest is history. We formed the MDL. We ran dungeons nonstop. I swear it says 1 year and 200 some odd days. I think I'm over that. I deleted so many characters because I'm the type of person that doesn't like double characters. But I'm surprised my paladin has overtaken my mage. But I guess because I've done so much tanking ever since Wrath of the Lich King, that's not that surprising. The only reason I have a paladin is because in BC, my tank friend Wipeout, he bet I couldn't make Ret viable in our raid. And so out of spite, I leveled, in BC, it was still leveling was time consuming. Leveled it up, got it ready for Gruul's Lair just because I love that 200 mace that was in Gruul's Lair. And I I mean, I did well, of course, but then I switched to tanking because tanking was way more fun and up my alley. But yeah, rest is history. It's just, this game's so fucking great. I love that people have 2 years worth of time.
I mean, how long has WoW been out? 15
21
years?
years. 21 years.
Oh, 21 years.
Yeah.
World of Warcraft's been out for 21 years?
Yep.
Okay, cool. So in
2004.
21 years, I spent one of those playing WoW. Like,
I've
that's
spent
pretty
2.
good.
That-
Yeah,
let's put it in context though. Like, it's hard to say, oh, one of those years, because this time is,
Wow.
you know, you eat,
Not
sleep,
sleeping.
and breathe.
So
Yeah.
so it's like even more, like a year and a third, basically,
Yeah.
because I'm counting like what I would sleep, right? But I think it's nice to say, like, I spent a year of my life doing something I really enjoyed, like, and it's quantifiable.
It's actually
Like,
it's very interesting because I talk about BC, and again, at the time I was in college. I've never talked to anyone that was in my group of friends about me playing WoW, except for my roommate who also played WoW with me. But like, of course, it was like taboo to let people know you played World of Warcraft at the time. But the
Yeah.
truth is, like, again, Leo, I've been friends with him for 20 years. He got me a job. That's so, like, amazing. And you know, I'd
well, I
argue,
met my husband on WoW, kind
yeah,
of.
right.
Like,
Well, he, you know,
I think I've
I'm
told
not
the
gonna
story
go.
before.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he hunted you down in WoW,
He
but
stalked me in WoW, and then I married him.
but
So,
Now,
nowadays I don't feel like that stigma is as bad. However,
no, because everybody wastes time playing video games. Like,
yeah.
so I feel like WoW's kind of vintage.
Well,
Like,
and
oh
also
yeah, I
because you
played
have
World of
games like
Warcraft.
Elden Ring and even like
Yeah.
Expedition 33, which make RPGs and all these ideas of, like, you know, fantasy cooler. Baldur's
Yeah.
Gate 3, you know. So it's not like so weird that you play a fantasy game anymore. But like the other side of it is, like, I've made some really good friends, including y'all, that I nowadays in my age of having kids that I don't get to go out and like party or anything. I spend more time with y'all, and it's like, this is a great community. I love getting online and getting yelled at by Lithian. It's great.
It's definitely like a better video game to play, even though it's like maybe the gameplay is not as engaging as like those single player fantasy games, but there is a social aspect to it. Like, if I was a sim, my social bar is getting filled up when I'm playing WoW, right? And so
Yeah.
that's a need you have. Like, humans have needs, and I have a social bar need, and I don't want to go outside because that sucks. So I'm gonna fill my social bar need on my computer. So
Yeah, it's really nice to be able to stay at home. I mean, you can still go
Yeah.
out and do stuff with your real friends, but I mean, you go on and
you don't
just
have to.
yeah, you can play a game, just go on at people you can interact with, and then you all work together towards a common goal.
Yeah.
Well,
And
if
I
you
love
think you have a
writing, too.
longer playtime than us, tell us in the comments. Because I
Or if
would
you're
put mine
shocked
at
by
over
our
2 years for
playtimes.
sure. No, people on Twitter have, like, you know, like the content creators have like 2 years and 200
But
days
that's their
and stuff like
job. I mean, I probably spent like multiple years working in 21 years.
that. Fair enough.
Like, 21 years, how many years have I
I
spent in my
mean,
job? Like, more than 1 year of elapsed time.
I had kids, or I had a kid. I got my job. I worked my career. Like, I had a lot of other things going on, and I still got a year, almost 2 years in. So I don't know.
You're gonna make time
Yeah,
for
you
the
make
hobbies.
time.
It's strange because we'll talk about this later, about how WoW is trying to bring in, you know, reinvent the game in ways and bring in other players that are younger. And the thought is, well, okay, does that mean that WoW's player base is aging out? I don't think it's aging out just yet, of course, but if a game wants to survive another 20 years, it definitely needs to start picking up new players. But at the same time, I feel like we're going to be playing this game well into our
In
elder
the
years.
retirement
As long as
home.
it's still good, we'll still be interested in playing it. So
Do you think they'll have like Blizzard branded retirement homes? Like, come here to play WoW? And, like,
I
Blizzard-
wouldn't. Okay, yeah. It's not obviously outside the realm of possible. They have a Margaritaville, you know, branded retirement home.
Well, have
right
you
now.
seen? Okay, I don't want to out myself by saying I watch Mr. Beast because I don't really, but like, cause that's cringe. But he did this video about technology recently, and one of the technology he had, there was like a guy moving a mouse around with his brain, like he was like hooked up.
Mhm.
And so, like, you know, when my arms are broken from being 80 years old, and like I can be laying in my wheelchair playing WoW with my brain. I think
I
that's
think it'll
coming
be
soon.
in you know what, 40 years time.
Yeah,
It'll be even more advanced than that, but that's another discussion for another day.
I can't wait for that, dude.
I
I,
mean,
want to have to sit up.
I'd be surprised if we didn't have, like, you know, the Ready Player One type of virtual reality world where we're playing WoW as the actual characters running around. But again, That's another
Oh,
discussion.
see, I don't want to do that
Gotta
because
get
it's
my
going to
workout.
involve exercise.
No,
Yeah,
like,
I
I
gotta
went,
get my workout
I went
in.
the
you don't have to
opposite. I went-
physically do it, right? It'd be like kind of
I
like
went the
Inception,
laying
you
in
know, where
my-
you're just sleeping
No.
and you're playing.
Dude, those guys get tired in Inception. They're getting shot and stuff. They're like panting. I'm like, I don't want that. I want to lay it on my back in my wheelchair, moving my
They'll
character
just have a
around with my
setting. It'll be like the
eyes.
arachnophobia setting. You just toggle
Yep.
off and you don't get tired.
Do you think that's like the new Hakili? Like people are gonna say like it's cringe that you're not like walking in WoW. Like you're letting the computer play walk the game for you. Like that's the
God,
dystopian future
you're-
I want to live in.
Well, I didn't think we'd have a ton to talk about this week, but we've already pissed 30 minutes away on this, so let's get going with the rest of the
Give me
episode.
a topic and I'll piss away 30
Yeah.
minutes, no problem.
Well, we did have first off, we have pre-patch being updated this weekend, so it's an 8-hour downtime when this episode's going to come out. So hopefully you're watching this episode during that downtime and not missing out on the game too much. They are bringing in a lot of things that were missing from the original pre-patch, so you can see there's tons of changes to classes, fixing a lot of classes that I hear, and then even giving out some buffs. It seems like mostly around the horn for classes. Scrap, you got some survival buffs that apparently are good.
Okay.
That said, though,
Okay.
If WoW tells me they're good, I'll believe it.
Oh
the
my
other-
gosh.
the other
here
thing
we
is
go.
though, they are like fixing some of the damage meter stuff. You know, they didn't bring in the death recap or being able to tell.
No, I
like,
need it to
who-
reset. I need it to reset.
I don't
That's
think
all
they even
need.
have that on beta yet. They said they did, but I don't
Oh.
think it's
Lithium,
officially.
Lithian, Lithian, you can make an add-on that says reset your damage meter every time you walk into a dungeon. Can you make that?
I don't think you can. If Details isn't doing it already, I
No,
don't think
it
it
can't.
Is it in
It
the
can't
black
because
box?
yeah, it's in the black box.
Oh.
So
But
bad, dude.
that said, though,
It can't. You can't tell when you start a key. There can't unblack box like, hey, like a key timer started. Here's
no,
an
because
add-on
then you
that
could
says
just start this
reset your
whole
damage
timer
meter.
thing that they don't want that.
I mean,
Oh, poo. Well,
I
they need to
think-
put it in the game then, because it's
I
super
think you
annoying to have to do that.
can. You might. I mean, it's in the logs. But
Yeah, it might be
anyway.
because you can see the timer itself. That might be the indicator to tell. But anyways, okay.
I'm gonna have to
Yeah.
use a analog weak aura, which is a sticky note on my screen by the damage meter. Like,
Well, there are other things coming to.
Analog weak
yeah.
They are adding some, like for example, they added for the damage meter being able to see the percent and the damage and the DPS at the same time.
Oh, that's very nice.
Yeah, they're gonna have the boss bars as opposed to the timeline one, and I think they had some more things for the timeline as well. More text to speech. So again, nice. I don't think this has been common that we have a pre-patch and then they have like another major patch after it to fix and add things to it. But with the UI elements, of course, that's might be kind of required. So that'll be nice and welcome. That said, there was also a beta patch. They finally added, like, for example, the Holy Paladin changes. It seems like there are concerns that the tuning is, even by the standards of where, you know, usually all the content creators will complain with T-minus 3 weeks to go about, oh my god, this is the worst state it's ever been and we're so screwed for launch. You know, tuning's been pretty good for the past two expansions, especially in this expansion. But there are some big callouts. Zorthus had a great video where he called out some of the sorry if I can zoom this out a little bit. Some of the major concerns for certain classes. So right now, apparently you never want to use Fist of Fury on single target for Windwalker. There's some Frost, ignoring some Ice Lance use, I guess. You ignore arcane missiles entirely on arcane, so what's the point of having arcane missiles? Which apparently arcane's also giga busted right now. It's like by far.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
You don't
it's
need a
so
missile
bad.
tracker now because you don't need to use missiles.
Yeah.
Barrage,
Take it off
not
the cooldown
missile.
manager.
Whatever.
You don't need it anymore. Fire, apparently you just don't use Power Blast at all in the
I
execute
saw
phase.
that,
Yeah.
and I saw the cheeky wording in the Wowhead article was like,
Yeah.
yes, you're reading that correctly.
Yeah. Apparently
That's
it's like a
unfortunate.
1% damage increase if you play it perfectly, but playing it perfectly is like not
Like,
worth
why
the energy.
bother?
Yeah. Avoid whatever they're called. Devour Demon Hunters apparently just ignore certain
wait.
things outside of meta. And they're apparently warriors are having to macro Thunderclap because Thunderblast replaced Thunderclap on certain procs, but you don't want to use it because it does less damage, so they are macroing Thunderclap back.
That's pretty,
There are
That's
more,
pretty
I'm
wild.
sure, out there, right? But I just want to ask you guys, you know, I know Scrap, you don't really care about the stuff until the time comes where you're actually playing it, but Lithian
Yeah.
and Ioski, you guys are usually paying more close attention to it. Again, it's you know, it's still time, but it seems that it's really out of whack and that some of the changes they went after certain class redesigns are not coming together in time for the expansion? Are you guys worried?
Am I
bit.
worried?
Not
No.
crazy worried because I'm sure they'll figure something out, but and maybe after the raid, like I don't know how long into everything coming out they'll have to figure out, but we still have like a couple weeks of pre-patch and maybe one more balance, and then one after the raid comes out. But yeah, it seems like if some classes are not using specific abilities, like Ice Lance, for example, is how you shatter your stacks, and I think I've heard, but it's tough because there's no real guides out yet for the specs because they haven't been fully released yet. But I think you heard you just overstack your stacks until you have Comet Storm and then you shatter them all then, which
Yeah.
is very if you're someone who's coming in and you don't know what you're doing and you're kind of trying to figure it out, that is very unintuitive because the way it would work in theory is you build them up and then you shatter them with the ice lances and then comet storm's like your big one. But yeah, I mean, if all these specs are missing are like not having a hit, and I mean sometimes you have abilities and classes that are not super important, but I feel like especially for mage, these are core buttons that they've been hitting for a really long time, and the whole point of redesigning them was to make them play more smoothly. And if they can't get them to the point where they're even using the buttons they do have besides the ones they took away, it seems like it's a bit of a miss on their part, and they should try to figure it out.
I mean, like Windwalker, I did look at the Fist of Fury commentary, and I looked at the builds and stuff like that. Like I played Windwalker quite a bit, and I would say if they take if they make it to where uh, a notable button that you're used to hitting that really, like, to me, Fist of Fury kind of defines Windwalker in a way, and it's like it's a button that you're used to hitting. You've been hitting since
Monk
since
came
it was
around.
available.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like if they take something like that and they remove it from the gameplay loop for single target, to me that feels a little icky. I
Do you
have
think
a
it's
feeling.
intentional?
Well, I don't think it's intentional. I think it's some of it is accidental. Some of it happened probably because they're trying to balance out hero talents across, and or they're trying to balance other things and they broke something else. And like a lot of times through the beta cycle that happens quite a bit, and then they have to go back and they have to go fix it. And it's just them trying to figure out how to balance everything out across all the specs without causing issues. And what I would say is I have a good level of confidence that the community will have no problems letting folks know how they feel. So I'm hoping that that helps them address and fix the issues. So
Yeah,
if you're
like,
out there and you're not happy, make it known.
well, and go to the forums as we always talk about.
Yep.
But
Yep.
here's the thing: like Brewmaster was already doing a lot of damage, and now they've been given more. Like they buffed Brewmaster, they gave
Well,
him more damage.
but they also giga buffed like Guardian Druid. Now
Yeah, yeah.
Guardian Druid is
Guardian's
doing
apparently
mega
doing well.
damage,
Yeah.
right? And so I think they were trying to balance it out, and like the Guardian Druid buffs are great if you enjoy doing a lot of damage. I don't know how their sustain is, but
Dorky was talking about
um
that right now in keys. He's keeping up with about 80% of the DPS's damage,
Oh
which
no.
that's
well, no,
wild, man.
so here's the thing.
That's what
And
they
Dorky's
wanted,
obviously
right?
one of the best, right? He's going to
Right.
be the one that is, if anyone can do it, he can.
There's only
But
like 3 buttons in your Guardian rotation, right? Like how good can you be at it? I don't know.
Gosh,
I'm
what's
just saying
wrong
probably
with you?
most people
I don't
can
Lithium
do
can
that.
answer that. I don't know. I don't.
Eh,
There's
But
more than 3 buttons,
the
man.
point is I mean, all classes now have 3 buttons,
It's
right?
like 4.
So anyways, point is though,
very true.
question is, do you believe that tanks, like this has been what they've been asking for? Tanks want to feel like their gameplay can be fun too because they can try to do damage. It's clear that they're not the 5 stacking tanks in groups because the example Dorky gave was you still have bosses that require a single target, and single targets usually where tanks will fall off the planet. But is this necessarily a bad thing that the tanks are doing more damage? And do you think that Blizzard's going to nerf it?
Were you asking someone
Lithian,
in
you're the
specific?
tank. Lithian, you're the tank. You answer.
I think if tanks are doing as much damage as DPS or more damage than DPS, then that's broken, right?
Yeah.
I like to have fun. I like to do damage. I like to do big numbers. I want to be able to do enough damage to maintain threat and enough damage to help make a difference in a hierarchy as things progress. But I don't want it to be overbearing because then it's not about fun, especially if only one tank is doing all the damage. Then all the cops have the same tank, and it's
Yeah,
just
keep push higher.
yeah, it's terrible, and I hate it. Even you know how the meta goes. All these people they play it because it's meta, even though they're not playing like high end content. They just doing it because it's the popular thing to do. Like I like for me, fun is complexity in a class. Obviously, that's something we rolled out of a little bit. So now it's more about being able to properly position mobs and use your abilities to get mobs into a place where your damaged folks can, put their dumb circles on the ground and do all the stuff that they like to do. And I to me that's where the fun is the challenge of actually playing the class and doing the things that you should be doing as a tank versus just doing a bunch of damage.
Well,
So I don't know.
what do you think is like a fair balance for a tank? Like, should they be doing half as much as a decent DPS?
I
Should they be doing 3/4 as much? 1/4 as much? What feels like too
so
much and too little?
there's damage and there's sustainability, being able to survive, right? And
Let's say like
if
what
they
the
can
benchmark is. Like, what's the expected DPS a
Assuming all
tank
the
should
other
be putting
variables are
out?
I
taken care of.
Yeah, it
if
would 50% be too much. 50% of the
well,
DPS.
I think 50-60% is fine
Because
of
that's
a
not where it
standard.
is right now. I feel like it's closer to like 1/4 to maybe like
Okay.
40%.
What do you think it should be scrapped?
I don't know.
Well,
I don't care. I'm asking what do you think?
Well, here's my thought process, right? And I'm jumping in just because I wanted to ask this
I
question,
don't
Lithium, too.
care.
He's the tank. I don't know. What do the tanks want? What do the tanks want? What are their
That
terms?
well,
They're asking me to
they
do more
want like
DPS.
Well,
80% is a number that they're happy with, right?
yeah,
80% seems too high to me because if I'm
to me
thinking about the
too.
disparity of DPS, like,
That's what I was
if the
worried about.
DPS isn't totally geared, I feel
Yeah,
like 80% should be where your lowest DPS might be hitting. Like, if the highest DPS is 100, another DPS being at 80 is cool. Like
reasonable. Yeah.
yeah, you
Except for
can
when you're
still time the
in a
key.
dungeon with Scrap where she says 1 billion, you lose her.
Well, I have to keep you guys good. I can't let you guys slack,
Anyways,
so I have to make
anyways.
fun of you.
But the thing is this, like I obviously want to encourage, like, if tanks want this to have fun, I don't see a huge problem with it until the problem is that the tanks who are going to come and start playing because they do more damage and think, "Oh, good," are also the tanks that are going to be super toxic the second
Yeah.
you have someone in the group who's not, like Dorky in his own groups, and like they're obviously all friends, and even if they're pugging at the 20s, and everyone that plays at the level is usually really amazing. But in the 10s and the 12s, um,
Ugh.
imagine that, I can't, I just keep thinking about all these examples where I was in a dungeon and the tank just starts like blasting the one DPS who isn't, maybe they're geared and they're not good. It doesn't matter, right? Like,
Yeah.
even if that person is doing 50% of the tank's DPS and we got the
Mhm.
key done, it doesn't matter. Like, just why are you being toxic? And that's what I'd
Yeah.
worry would come of this, is that tanks would be sitting there and, I've seen tanks that even when the DPS was like 50% of the other DPS's damage, we've had some players who play tanks and they do insane amounts of damage, considering, right? Like they're coming in at 80% when it was supposed to be 50%. So imagine what happens when those people are like the top of the damage meter in a group where three other DPS are
God.
the gearing or, not that great. They're going to go like berserk with their toxicity.
Are you saying tanks have an ego problem or a toxicity
I'm
problem?
saying the tanks that usually worry about doing damage in the same way that healers who are usually worried about
Oh
doing
my
damage
gosh,
Yeah,
I knew that
yeah.
was gonna
have
come
their
up.
mind wrapped around the role in I'm not going to say wrong, because obviously play the game you want to play, right? But I'm going to say that they're doing it in a way that's going to be detrimental, usually, not always, usually, to the actual goal as opposed to what their goal is,
Yeah,
Yeah.
like I don't want to use damage trinkets. I want to use
Yes,
tanking
I agree.
trinkets.
I
I
agree.
want to worry about being able to be sturdy enough to do the higher content and being able to position mobs appropriately, pull properly, and like I like to worry about all those other things. If my damage is 80%, or higher of the DPS, then I think 60% is fine, right? To me, that's fine. I have no
Mhm.
problem with that. Obviously, if I could do more, I will. I'll take it, but I don't want that to be where the fun of playing a tank is.
Yeah.
Granted, I think there's a big issue because I heard that there's probably going to be a challenge getting people to play tank.
Yeah. Well, there is a
But
challenge.
But I think that doesn't it put more pressure on the tank? Like they're saying like,
Yeah.
oh, people don't play tank because it's a lot of pressure, like it's a lot of responsibility. But if then groups are expecting you to do 80% of the damage, then that's even more pressure for the tank. It's like, okay, not only do you have to group the mobs and do the kicks and blah blah blah, but now you have to
just carry
also
the
do your
entire key.
yeah, now you have to do the damage rotation too. I feel like that would scare people off of tank
Um,
more.
I I don't worry about damage
I
like
know
that,
you
man.
don't, but if they're saying the whole reason, all these content creators are like, the reason people don't play tank is because it's not fun to not do any damage. It's like, no, I think the reason people don't play
Well,
tank is because it's scary to get into. It's hard to just say, I'm going to play a tank
so
and
I
start there, right?
real quick, if somebody comes to me and I'm playing Brewmaster and they say, "Hey, you're not doing this much DPS. You're a bad tank purely because of the damage." And my damage is it's close. It's not at what those like top end content creators are doing. I'm probably not going to care too much. I think it's kind of toxic to me
This
to
this
it's
happened
like
on
it's like
healers.
healers. Yeah, it's
Iasky and I
so
were running
bad,
a
dude.
Magister's 15, and this
Mhm.
guy was flaming me because I was tanking, and I wasn't doing like insane amounts of DPS. Now, granted, I vibe builded, so God knows I didn't have the right build to do DPS anyways. But the other side of it though is that like
I
I
build.
was also like fighting for my life that whole dungeon. Like poor Iasky
Mhm.
was like trying to keep me alive, and so like I couldn't even worry about DPSing because I was just trying to stay alive.
But
And he's like, yeah, man, you need to be doing. You need to. He told me to go back to tens. He's like, that's where you should practice. I was like, okay,
in beta,
Wow.
dude, that's hilarious.
in
I
beta.
feel like there
In
are benchmarks you see, right? Like if I'm used to tanks doing like 25%, 30% or something, and I see a tank doing 2%, I'm gonna like give that a like, okay, you're doing something wrong. So let's say the
Well,
expectation is
Well,
doing
that's extreme
80%
though.
and you're doing 50, then I'm looking at that and I'm like, this guy is not pulling the weight that he should be pulling. Like
Did you
if
ever
I'm
say that
used to
for
tanks doing it.
the DPS
I've said
from
it to
healers
you.
in? Hold on, we'll get
In
to that.
Shadowlands,
I was
yeah.
gonna bring that up in a second, but let's get that in a
all
second.
Yeah.
the
No, but what I
toxicity
was gonna say,
here.
did you ever bring that up for healers that wouldn't do that in Shadowlands when damage was so prevalent?
In Shadowlands, yes, absolutely in Shadowlands. In
Wow.
Shadowlands, I feel like there were keys that we didn't time because the healer was not pulling their weight. Like that all of us were doing
Dude,
equal damage
DPS
and we didn't meet the
That's very
DPS
DPS.
talking
toxic of this, man.
trash.
But I'm saying so currently I don't look at a healer's damage because it's
No,
so
because it's not the same.
insignificant. Yeah.
Yeah.
But like I have looked at tanks damage in this current expansion where tanks damage doesn't matter and been like, wow, you're really not even making the low bar, which is something I have made fun of you for when you look at your damage
So
freak
okay, so
in season
let's jump
2.
into this.
Like
Yeah,
season 2
Oh,
it was tough.
some background, right? First off, we didn't ever not time a team key because of my DPS.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, it didn't stop us
Right.
from timing the key, but it doesn't like the same way you might look at my kicks and say, wow, you didn't do any kicks, you're not like pulling your weight the way you're supposed to. Like we
Well,
still
that's
time
because
the
people
key.
died, but that's neither here nor there.
No, I'm just saying as an example, like we can time a key and you can look to me that I'm not doing kicks. And it's like, well, those kicks are being made up by other people who are having to work harder. So it's like you need to pull your weight more, right? Even though we timed the key. And I might say that about your damage as a tank, where I'm looking at your damage, I'm like, whoa, you're doing 5% when most people are doing 50. Like
It
yeah,
was
we
never
timed the
that
key, but
egregious. Don't be.
I don't know, but I'm just using an example. I'm just talking in
No,
generalities.
okay.
But
So
like even if
let's
we
let's
timed the
paint this
key, I
picture.
would
Let's
say
paint this
you're not
picture.
meeting the benchmark.
So
Go on,
in
paint the
season
picture.
2, whenever I would tank, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, like we always talked about it, and Haywire would always give me hell about like, man, your DPS is low. Now, granted, it was low. I'm not here to argue that.
But it never stopped
it
us
was
from
like,
timing key. I will
yeah,
give you that.
it was like 2.5 mil when it should have been like 4 or 5 mil, right? So it was like half of
as
what.
much as it should have
Well,
been.
no, and when I say should have, I mean compared to what we saw some other really good tanks do, right?
Yeah.
But that's because my philosophy was always about focusing on the pull, focusing on surviving, right? It was
Right, but
never
my
about
let's
DPS.
let me go back to mine. My philosophy is doing all the damage and not doing kicks or pressing defensives. Like, that's my
Yeah, but
prerogative.
see,
Because
the
I'm
difference.
doing my main job. Like,
Mm,
so why do I have to do these side jobs? Like, it's for you, DPS is the side job. For me, kicking's the side job.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
But
That's
I
why I
would
won't do a
say
focus
that
kick macro,
you.
commenters.
God.
Go on.
The problem, Scrap, is that you not kicking results in you dying and doing less DPS, right? So
So if we
anyways.
time the key. Well,
Anyways,
if me not kicking kills you, that's not my problem. If
that
we
never
time the
happened to
key.
me though as a tank.
Well, it happened recently when you told me not to kick the water bolts, and then
Anyways,
you
okay.
died to the water bolts.
Anyways, so in season 3, I made it a point to say, okay, I'm going to like lean into trying to do damage, right? And I was, I was parsing in the 80s and 90s. It was fine, right? But what ended up happening though is that like I just wasn't enjoying it as much. I was like worried more about making sure I send my armaments and in that window, how do I, using my pots to add a lot of strength and try to do AoE in a big pool. And don't get me wrong, like I play my Arcane Mage, and when I'm in my DPS mode, I'm all about that meter. But when I'm in tanking mode, the thing I love about tanking is the coordination and the stringing together of those pulls, and figuring out how to make sure I stay alive. Looking for kicks as a tank is more fun. And as I play prop paladin for a reason. And so like I get it. Like I'm not saying that in this case Dorky is wrong for thinking he wants to do more damage. I totally get it. And I just don't think it's going to bring in as many people as they think at the level of 10s and 12s at least.
And that was my point. Like, I wasn't dragging you just to make fun of you.
Sure.
I mean, it was a side benefit, but just that even if it isn't hindering the key, if I'm seeing other people meet a benchmark and then I see somebody lagging behind, I'm not going to say it to a stranger, but I will say it to you. Like, it's still an expectation, even if the key is timed, that like you could be doing more.
I had
then
more
we could be
fun
pushing higher.
throwing out Word of Glories to heal and help, heal in the group than I did when you guys were worried about my DPS.
I have more fun blade storming than kicking, so I guess we're the same.
No, I'm just saying.
Both.
I don't care if you don't interrupt. Don't be mad when you die and lose DPS. How many
all
times?
I'm saying is that
How
just 'cause
many
you
times
enjoy
when we had a cat
not
fight?
DPSing,
How
I
many
enjoy
times when
not
we had a
kicking.
cat fight did you would lose because you got killed and you go, stop the count, stop the count?
Yeah,
Right.
that it does happen. But that's what I'm just saying is that you enjoy that these parts of your job, but not other parts of your job. I think, but everybody has many parts to their job. And if they make it so that the DPS expected of tanks is 80%, and if you're not doing that, people are gonna call you a donkey and tell you to go back to 10s. And I think that will discourage people from tanking, which was the whole point that I was trying to get around to. In a very roundabout way of making
Well
fun of you
done.
along the way. Thank you.
But what about the other things like Warriors and their Thunderclap? Like, I mean, I see this obviously as if it were to go into launch. Of course, for the high end players, it's a problem.
I mean, can
I don't think people in
this a
10s
little
would even know. They would just like, unless they read the guides. And we've had players in our own Discord that are like the people who don't do the best DPS, who seem to be like all about making sure they read every single blue post and note from their favorite content creator.
I just want to highlight something in that what was this expansion? War Within. Og was completely dead for 2 entire seasons. Like, it was so bad, and they didn't meaningfully recover it in any way. Like, and we were like, oh, because they're trying to. But well, you thought that
Dude,
intentionally they were trying to kill it, but then they brought it back. So it's like their intention wasn't to fully kill it.
Yeah, sorry.
Wait, hold on. Let me get around to my point. Let me get around to my point here.
I need you to quote. I need you to quote me correctly, but okay, I'll wait.
There's a precedent for them fucking up a spec and just leaving it for an entire season. I wouldn't be surprised if these problems persist the whole season. I mean, I spent an entire season in survival with the 4 set from the previous season. So I'm just saying, like, I talked about this when they revamp all fucking 40 specs, that there's going to be some losers. Like, there's going to be some specs that get left behind that don't work, that aren't tuned correctly, and they'll get to them maybe in the mid patch or whatever. I'm just glad it's not me. Look,
I was going to say, easy for the survival hunter to say.
No, but it normally is the survival hunter.
Well, no, it is you, Scrap, because you're playing Devourer, and you're not supposed to use Void Rain Reap outside of meta.
So,
whatever. I'm not going to press that button anyway. I'm just going to press consume. So
these specs aren't necessarily losers, though, but they're not pressing certain buttons that you'd think they would be core to their rotation. I think that's more what it's about.
But what I'm saying is that, like, I was keep talking about survival. Season 3 of survival, we had like 3 buttons on our bar that were just like never ever pressed. Like, you never pressed kill shot. Like, you only pressed explosive shot very.
And did you say that was a problem?
Yeah, I said it was a problem. So I'm saying, why are people surprised about this now? Like they had to redesign
Because-
40
well,
specs
because
and-
it's so
and before
widespread.
People
everywhere.
actually play the other specs, so they're not used to it.
Widespread. There's only 5. There's only 5 here that he
No,
highlighted.
there
was
Fucked
there
up.
was 6 here, and there were others
6?
that you know more nuanced or whatever. But
You know what I'm noticing about those specs is they're all ones that people play, but no one ever bitched about it when it was a spec that
Monk
nobody
is like
plays.
the least played
Well,
class. What are
yeah,
you talking
Monk's-
about?
whatever.
Nobody
That's
plays
probably-
Windwalker, but if you're a fire mage and you don't hit Pyroblast and execute, that's your big giant.
When they
That's
said-
fucked up.
Fireball,
when they-
dude.
when
I'm
they
not
came
saying
for
that's not
Survival
fucked up.
Hunter, they said nothing.
That's what
Yeah.
I'm the
Like-
person being all on my high horse, being like, well, you didn't say anything for me, so now I'm not gonna say nothing for you.
You didn't go to
Like-
the forums.
That's
and let
not
them
the
know how
question
you felt.
either.
Well, I'm just saying. I actually won't go that way. I was gonna go way too far on the Holocaust metaphor, and I'm gonna come back
Whoa,
from that.
whoa.
Well, because that's where it's from, right? Like,
It is home, yes.
it's
from-
Anyways,
it's
from
a-
us.
anyways.
I was about to really hit that hard. It was gonna be funny, but I'm gonna walk it back because
Walk it back,
comedy's
walk
not
it back.
worth it.
Way to
What I'm
way
just
to.
saying is that I'm not surprised this is happening. Yes, it's bad. I feel very sad for you, monks or whatever, because I have experienced this. But you didn't speak
Monks
for me,
are-
so.
Scrap,
You
scrap.
didn't
No,
speak
but
for
this
yourself.
is beyond that though, because I mean, like, okay, so going to the arcane change as an example, right?
Yep.
Not using
It's beyond
arcane.
that because it affects arcane.
No, not using arcane missiles, in my opinion, is not the end of the world, right? It's like
Right.
they
No.
they have this build that just doesn't benefit from it. Okay, who like it probably will change in the next season, anyways. One season of a different build, not using arcane missiles, which again is not that necessarily fun of a button to press. Is not a huge deal. But when they made these changes, they said, look, arcane Frostfire, not Frostfire, Sun Fury is doing way too much single target, so we're gonna make it reduce in the single target but try to buff the AoE. And then they took the other hero talent, Spellslinger, and just like Giga blew it out of the water to the point where again it's not even close to the correct
yeah.
tuning.
I have no idea why they turn the knobs they turn.
Well, yeah.
I'm
But
always
and of course
like,
those knobs
"What?"
can be changed like into the season or into the first 2 weeks of the expansion or whatever. That I'm not worried about that. Like it will be brought back in. What people are worried about though is like this is the kind of wild and wacky tuning you see in December like last year of when they were doing the beta stuff, right?
No, wait, they've had wild and wacky tuning like this go to live before, so I'm
Wow, just
I'm-
for you.
yeah for me.
Maybe
and
for 1 or 2
and
specs,
for-
right? Maybe one for 1 or
and
2
for
specs, but not for
Og.
like 7 or 8.
Well,
Oh no,
yeah.
hold on. Let's go back to Og for a second. Sorry. I have to go back. Scrap.
What?
I want to be clear. They did,
What?
I think, I'm not certain of this, but I think they nuked
hat.
Og at the time because
You
their
think
philosophy.
they deliberately nuked
yes,
Og?
yes. Because
That's
at the
pretty
time,
wild.
right, their philosophy has been when we rebuild a class, usually, it's done in an expansion level, right? Because that's when we can
Uh-huh.
really hunker down and
But
think
bro,
about.
that one just came out like
No,
less
it-
than a year ago, and they already
Sure.
nuked it.
Because it got so out of hand, and they spent 2 or 3 seasons trying to fine tune it. How many times did Og get like blue notes every patch, right? It was like Og was getting something majorly done. They took out
Yeah.
a spell, they added it back, they changed this, they changed how the raid function worked, and
Yeah.
whatever. They were trying to get it right, and at some point, season 2 of War Within, I guess, they said we can't figure this out, right? So they nuked it. They said, look, put it into the
You know what
ground.
the responsible thing to do is just turn it off. Like just say
No,
like no Og
no,
this
because-
season.
No,
Like,
but that's not
if it doesn't
responsible.
work,
Because
if it's
people
so bad.
Because people still played Og and still, I mean, like, I'm sure there was an Og out there that got title, right?
There
We
was
just- we
not.
just-
No, there
we
wasn't.
just
We
turn it
looked at
off.
it.
No,
I'm
anyway,
pretty-
okay,
I'm
we're,
pretty
not,
sure
not the
there
point.
was.
Not the point.
In season
Not
2,
the
it
point.
was like egregious.
Not the point. The point being, right, that they had to do it in a way that was subtle to tell the high-end community, you're not going to want to play this. But it didn't
Mhm.
necessarily take away from the casuals who are like, I like Og and that's what I want to play.
How was Og
As
in
oppo-
Delves? Was it?
Why does
Did
that
it work? I'm
Anyways,
just curious. for the
Because you can do
casual
delves with the
people.
party. I'm sure anyone that was playing it with their friends or family, whatever.
Okay, you'd have somebody else do the
But-
delve while you stood
But
around.
I want to be clear. We didn't think that they were like not sure, and so they're like, hey, let's just kill it for the sake of killing it. They just knew that if they tried to do it in the middle of a 0.2 or 0.1 patch, it probably would be more of the same shit that they tried for the 3 seasons prior to that, including an expansion launch with the War Within.
So what
Um,
I thought with Og is I was agreeing with you at first, where I thought they were deliberately trying to get nobody to play it so that they could quietly sweep it under the rug and be like, nobody plays it, so
No.
we're just not doing this anymore, and it's gonna be a tank now or something.
No,
But
no.
now that they're bringing Og back, it makes me think, wow, they really just were so incompetent they didn't know how to fix it for 2 entire seasons.
No,
Like
they
that speaks more to incompetence
Well,
than like
oh
a
my God.
deliberate plan to kill it. Tin Hat, fine, but like. Let's talk to these poor, sad Og people who I have claimed
Why
don't
would they
actually
be
exist.
incompetent enough for being able to do it for 2
Huh.
seasons, but they're able to competently do it now? What
Terrible
did they
to-
just like
do
all
you
of a sudden
know-
hire
That's a
someone who's like,
great-
oh, this guy knows what he's doing. Good, come in
That's a-
here.
That's a fucking. So you're saying that they had the cure for cancer and they didn't use it? Because that's what you're
No,
saying.
I'm
basically.
saying that they had cure for cancer, but it took them 2 months or 2 seasons to figure it out.
So
Trip, do you know what's going on with Og right now?
I have no idea. I just know
Og's
people
about to
are,
be
like,
meta
hype about
again.
it. Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. They're letting
But do you
it run
know?
rampant
But do you know
again.
why?
No, I have no clue. Are they making it just like a regular DPS spec?
No.
Well, then why, Lithian? You got all the answers.
I don't know. You're the Og expert all of a sudden.
Like I do want to like kind of backtrack, and I do stand by. Nobody was upset about Og being killed because everybody was playing Og was a Fodum chaser, and when
Mostly,
it wasn't Fodum, they had no
Well,
loyalty to
hold
Og
on.
anymore.
Rigo loves Og.
Whoa,
Rigo
no,
loves
no,
Og.
no.
Rigo is the only person.
You said
There's
nobody. I
no-
just want to
there's-
quantify that you
okay,
are.
okay, okay.
There's people.
Vir-
there are
sorry.
people.
Virtually nobody, and that's why there wasn't. That's why
Oh.
Og didn't shut down their Discord, whereas Paladin shut down their Discord over one tiny thing. You know, like imagine if
Ret
they
Paladin's not
imagine,
anywhere else, but
Crybabies.
let's be clear.
imagine if Ret Paladin just like didn't function for an entire.
No,
season.
that's actually Ret Paladin
Like-
apparently is a huge loser right now. Like it's not. It's
They
like one of the
should
worst
lose.
specs.
They should fucking lose. Like I'm sick of them. I'm super sick of the Ret
I'm
Paladins.
sick of them.
Let's look at the
Get 'em
meta
outta
meta
I
real
am.
quick.
Get him out of here. They've been at the top for way too long. Well, now every spec is basically Ret Paladin in terms of like complexity. So the Ret Paladins have plenty other to choose from.
I don't think they chose Ret for the ease of use. Like they just liked.
A lot of
Ret
people did because
Paladin,
it's
the
easy
theme.
and has a lot of utility. It's like a BM hunter, but for melee. Easy with a lot of utility and like good players
Where's
who
the
play it and be
actual-
fucking stellar at it.
All right, these are the TLDRs. Where's the actual DPS? Here we go. God, this is
Lithian,
a
it's
very
too fluffy.
exhaustive list. Lithian.
It's
Yeah,
too
Ret-
what?
Ret Paladin is one of the lowest rank, but someone called out, and I don't have the tweet pulled up right now, but Archon has like 30 of the 33 DPS specs or whatever, all listed as S tier right now.
Yeah,
And they
that's-
said that's just because like
that's
the
weird.
discrepancy between their S tier and the other 2 specs that aren't S tier right now is so large that their algorithm put them all in S. So hopefully this will get updated soon, per Lithian.
Dude,
Well,
all they have to
titles-
do is threaten to burn down their Discord, and they'll give them plus 300% fucking tuning.
Your
They'll be
your
fine.
best friend Tettles put out a video, and I was going to add that in because his takes are a little bit different, and I think he has like it just came out a few minutes ago
Mhm.
or a few hours ago,
Well, and it
I
might change
think,
soon. It might change soon.
Yeah, it'll change. I think his takes are a little bit different, and he has some updated. Like he's down on balanced druid, whereas like
Don't shit on Tettles. It's fine.
no, I'm not. I don't know the guy. I know he's one of the content creators that puts out these dumb tier lists that I use for something like this. But yeah, he's down bad on balanced druid. I
Anyways,
guess. I don't
okay.
know.
So,
Look, I can't help but feel like a little bit of satisfaction because this season it's not me. So I'm like,
It's
Okay.
not you.
but
You're
it
playing
is you. Devour is
You're
you.
playing
no,
Devour.
they're gonna blast Devour into the ecosphere. It's gonna be like insane. I'm sure it
They
will
gotta-
work with the hero talents or something.
The problem
You're so
right now
insane.
is VDH is so amazing right now. If they don't
Yeah.
do anything about that, nobody's gonna play
Yeah,
Devourer.
they won't double it.
Well, you have to play with me a Devourer because we spun the wheel. So
Well, I'm
to your
playing a
grave, not mine.
Brewmaster, so it doesn't matter.
We're
He's saying in
gonna go
pugs you're not going to be
workshop.
taken.
Oh, and Pugs. No, I'm not gonna play it off the clock. Like I'm only gonna play it with you guys.
Wow. You're not
All
gonna
right,
play
I
it
ask
off
you
the
though. You're feeling
clock?
pretty good about Holy
I don't
Paladin,
want
yeah?
people to see me in public on a Devourer.
Oh,
Sorry.
Yeah,
Sorry, I
Holy Paladin with the changes
Cringe.
feels pretty good right now.
What about Miss Weaver?
most
So
part.
I've been looking for Meg's, tweet to see if she's still down bad. I haven't seen anything necessarily, but
Yeah, I don't know a whole lot about Mistweaver right now. I haven't really been keeping too close to touch on it. Or
Jack had
close to
Jack
keep
had
an
said
eye
it's
on
not
it.
in a terrible shape on Mac Jack.
No, I think I think it's with the most recent changes they've gotten on beta the last couple times. I think it's okay. I still think you're not going to take it over like a resto druid, or resto shaman, or
sure,
disc
yeah.
priest in theory, like meta wise, but I think it's in a state now where you'd be a little more comfortable playing it in Mythic Plus, and I think in Raid you still might have some mana issues, but I think they're better than they were.
Yeah, yeah. I know they did like something with Thunder Focus too, which should help with the mana, but not obviously,
Yeah.
and maybe not enough. Okay. Well, anything else you guys want to talk about the state of tuning? Again, 3 weeks out.
I did have a question I was going to bring up earlier when
Please.
we were talking about the tank damage, but I was curious what you guys think. So, we talked about how, there's certain thresholds, especially for tanks. If you're trying to push a certain key level, you kind of expect them to be able to do. If not, maybe give them some friendly criticism and say, hey, you need to do a little bit more damage if you want to do this key level. Do you think we'll ever get to a point where if we feel like the damage meters are a little toxic, where people can only see what they do, would that ruin the damage meter for you guys?
Absolutely ruin it. I played Final Fantasy for a little bit, and I was like, how do I know if you suck or not? Like, it was driving me crazy.
Right, but like, let's say like you use it as a tool and you can compare yourself to other people in the spec, but you can't see what everyone else in your group is doing. Would that change it?
Well, how do I know how well I'm doing? I guess like if I'm not.
Well, that would be on you to look into.
Right, I'm betting a lot of people aren't gonna look into that and just take my keys, and then bitch at me for not using healthstones or whatever. Like, I need to see that you're doing bad. I absolutely have to enjoy the game. I'm sorry. I'll keep it to myself if I have to.
Listen,
but
that's like saying though. Go on.
Well, no, we can't catfight if we can't see each other's
If you
damage.
are a DPS player, what's the fucking point if you're not trying to compete? Like, that's the reason I like DPS, because there's a level of competition in a PvE scenario, right?
I think that's great for DPS players. I don't want that for tanks, and I don't want that for healers.
I
That's all
actually
I'm saying.
don't care. Like, if you hide the tank and healer damage, I'd be fine with that. I don't care. But I do.
You do. You told me you cared about my DPS.
Yeah.
Well, because I'm looking for something to dig my claws in. Like, I'm like,
so it's only exclusive to me, is what you're saying.
Yeah. I'm like, let's check how many times Frank died in the key. That'll be funny. Like, that'll be good for a laugh.
That'll be funny.
To answer your question, I ask you, the only thing in this game that's toxic is scrap. That's it.
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
No, in seriousness,
Yeah, don't take away fun.
I think it's like saying, what if you took the kill death like leaderboards out of Battlefield or whatever? I don't know. Like, I just feel like obviously there's it's nice to have a bar that tells you, are you doing better than you did before, or are you doing better than the other people in the group? I don't see a world where Blizzard's ever going to be responsible for that toxicity. It's like it's on us as the players, Like,
you know what
we
would
just have
be
to do better.
interesting is if that, like, up to like a 5 key level, you had an option to turn your damage meters private or something. Like, if you're doing up to a 5, you can say, I don't want people to see how much damage I'm doing.
But I don't even think that's necessarily a healthy thing to do for yourself either, just because it's like, if it was on the players to do the right thing, and this is the whole point of our Toxie Jar and the positive vibes, right? Like,
Yeah.
how many times has someone, okay, I'll even give the example, Scrap, of when we played our very first time together with Sarah, right?
Right.
I could have come in and I could have just went fucking nuclear about how her tanking was. But I decided...
The first time you played with her? I don't think... I don't remember the specifics.
You invited me into Discord because I was trying to help her learn how to tank Plaguefall, right?
Oh.
And so, like, I again, it was told to me when I started the key, hey, this may not be a great key, so-and-so's trying to learn or whatever.
Yeah.
And like, immediately it disarms me and says, okay, I'm gonna be fine. That's, and Blizzard's even adding this into the game by having you tell what kind of group you are when you queue.
Yeah.
And so I came in with a positive attitude, and look what resulted of it. A podcast, a community, years of rating and plussing.
Well, that just goes to my good community building skills of, like, we're doing a bullshit key.
She's taking credit. She's taking credit.
I am taking credit because I'm the one in a bullshit key. I say, hey, you want to come in Discord? I do that all the time,
Yes, you do. Okay, I'll give you credit for that. Yes, you are usually the person that wants to bring that vibe.
Yeah.
What do we call it? PP? What?
Hug and
What
push.
was that?
PP.
Hug and push. I was like, I don't even remember what that was. That was so last season, Lithian. PP. Hug and
Anyways,
friends.
Anyways,
we
Scrap.
friends. We bring them
did.
into Discord.
That's the challenge, right? It's not. I don't even think it's on Blizzard to do it, because I feel like they give us everything we need to be successful. But I would honestly argue that a lot of the people we may see in our groups that we get toxic about their damage or whatever, Maybe it's because they don't have a meter telling them something's wrong.
True.
And they
Yeah.
now today go, oh, cool. And then ask questions and like, oh my God, I just saw how much
Yeah.
DPS you did as a survival hunter. I play survival as a alt and I really like it, but I'm terrible at it. And how many people have you started talking to in our community?
I do
that
that
say-
all the time. If I
Yeah.
go in a queue with a survival hunter and they blast me, I'm like, hold on, stay. Like, I need
Yeah.
to know what the fuck.
No, and it's even
is
like
going
even on stream, I'll have people who come and say, "Oh, you're an arcane mage. I've struggled with it. Can you talk to me?" And because they come in with this positive question and curiosity, like we are way more accepting. Whereas the inverse of like, I mean, how many times we even I think talked about this a couple of weeks ago of like the warlock on beta who was like talking about how they're above this and that they're not going to carry some rogue through. I think it was like a plus 20 key on beta. And it's like,
chill, bro.
like it's up to us. It's up to us. Blizzard is giving us
Well-
the tools to improve ourselves, just like again a kill death ratio would be in any other shooting, first person shooter.
Yeah.
And it's up to us to like be that positive
But
force.
I don't think if they had a level that was very low, not competitive, that they said no damage meter level, like the delve tier of Mythic Plus. Maybe 0 to 3 is like no damage
Well,
meter 0 to 3.
I
Like, you
think-
can turn it off if you want
But
to.
then why would you go to a 0-3 to practice, right? Like I mean, if you don't have
Yeah.
the
Some people just want to experience Mythic Plus and not feel bad about themselves, I guess.
I mean-
What I'm saying is it doesn't affect me if they put
Yeah,
in
yeah.
some level of the game where that exists.
Our community is really great at trying to help people, unless y'all are being toxic to me.
Yeah.
But if you go into we talked about this, like you go into a class Discord, some of those class Discords are terrible. You can't ask questions, you can't
No.
learn anything because
Absolutely not.
they will just they'll destroy you.
They'll
and
drag
you'll never
you.
want to you never want to come back again, right? Like our community is one where if you have questions, if somebody knows, like they'll help, right? And most of the time people are really nice, except for Scrap. But
I
you know,
haze a
like
little bit, do a little hazing.
in game, I'd rather know if I'm doing something wrong because
Yeah.
somebody else is able to look
Yeah.
at the meters and have somebody tell me versus not knowing at all, right?
Yeah, I would never not want to know. I was aghast when I was playing Final Fantasy 14, and I was like, well, we were doing a dungeon, and I was like, well, how do I know if I'm doing well or not? And it's like, well, we just kind of like if we finish it, then we all did well. I'm like, but how do I know if I'm doing well? Like, how do I
Yeah,
know I'm not just being carried? I don't know if I'm just pressing whatever fucking buttons I feel like. I have no idea how to
And
play.
in fairness, Scrap, the DPS meter in game doesn't come on default, right? They have to go looking
Yeah.
to turn it on. So
Yeah.
if someone wants to ignore it, even into tens or whatever, they can. And that
Yeah.
same person who's going to be toxic to the person who's doing, 50% DPS, will see it on their details in the old world and see it on the whatever they use in the new world, right? Like, I think the main message here to take away is like, I'm sure even the most toxic people in the game will be significantly less toxic if they understand what they're getting themselves into before. I think the cause for toxicity is the idea of time wasted, right? Because
Yeah.
I'll go like mega toxic when I see someone who wants to like leave a key with 3 minutes left, and yeah, we may not time it, but like just give us the last 3 minutes. We wasted 30. Like, what are you
At
doing?
the end of the day, the Mythic Plus is collaborative, and if one person isn't collaborating, like they're just putting their name on the project, it's like, well, that's making it harder for all of us. And
Sure.
it's like you're having fun at our expense, because
But
we have to carry you.
Do you get upset in those the group projects where it's like the person who just doesn't show up, or the person who is like showing up but they're maybe a little
Frank, let me tell you something true. I get mad at both. I get mad at both. I don't like anybody messing up my group
the
project.
look on your face when you say that.
I'm laying down some knowledge for you. I don't like it when either of those things happen.
I'm surprised though, because again, you're the person that would say, hey, this person's learning, or hey, come in Discord so we can vibe together. And
Well,
you're the
okay,
person
if
that's also
I'm
like,
doing a group
yeah, you're a little
project-
stupid, but I hate you and don't come to my
The
group
thing is,
project.
I if I'm doing a group project with somebody with no legs and it's a running project, I'm not
Oh my
going to
God,
say
the
I'm
no
not going to be
legs.
mad at you for
this
not
is-
I
having
can't.
legs, right?
Insufferable.
I
But
can't.
if we all have legs and it's a running project and you just decide not to use them, then I'd be way more annoyed at you. But if I can look at you, I can see you don't have legs. I know that it's okay. Like,
Again, let's be
that's-
clear, Scrap. No one knows what this no legs conversation
I
is
think
because
it
we
speaks
didn't
for
have it
itself.
on.
I think it speaks
No,
for
it-
itself though. Let's
Okay,
say we have a
viewers-
group running
viewers,
project.
This is in reference
No,
to
no,
the
we don't have to refer. We don't
to
have
the,
to.
the what's the kingdom
totally
guy from
understand.
Overwatch, was it?
I
Right?
don't even remember the exact context, but
Oh,
what I'm
Kingsman,
saying is,
yeah.
Yeah, Kingsman,
like,
that was it.
you're describing a situation where it's like, oh, but you're like really nice sometimes when somebody's learning. It's like, well, yeah, because I can see that person is not gonna pull their weight. I'm not gonna be an ass about it, right? Like, I'm gonna be chill.
But you just said you're still mad at them.
Well, why
No,
can't
I
you
won't be mad
play
at them. I won't be mad at them if they have no legs. They were born that way.
anything other than Black Widow?
Exactly, the Black
So-
Widow.
Actually, while we're on the topic of Overwatch, you guys see that they took the 2 away? Overwatch is now
I saw
Overwatch 2
they're
is now
adding.
I
Overwatch.
did.
So I think the taking the 2 away is obscenely cringe and it screams incompetence. But I think in addition to that, they're putting a real effort into trying to bring people back to their game, hopefully to compete.
Yeah,
with,
they have like
Marvel
a
Rivals.
whole year of like 8 more heroes coming and stuff.
Yeah, they're releasing like tons of heroes and like I think maps and stuff. So
Jetpack Cat.
yeah, so that
By the way,
that is good.
there's a jetpack cat carrying whatever the gorilla's name is, I guess, and
Winston, how dare you?
Winston, and then the healer, whatever her name is, that can fly. They're all just
Yeah,
like flying
Mercy.
around the map. Just like
I saw that.
spinning.
So that is one thing. I don't play Overwatch. Don't really have a dog in this race, but
Yeah,
I'm
neither do
hoping
I.
that they're not just like slamming stuff like into the game to be like, please play us instead of Marvel Rivals, and then it's gonna be shit, and people are like, why aren't we just playing Marvel Rivals? Like that's gonna kill your game. I think that removing the 2 is a huge fucking L. They should have put another name on it.
Putting
or
the 2
something,
on
like-
was the L. They're just kind of like sweeping the other part of it under the rug.
Yeah, I think it's embarrassing. Like,
Sure.
why didn't they say? Why did they say
Hold
instead
on.
of 2, we're gonna call it like Overwatch Unlimited or Overwatch like fucking awesome? And instead of like, no, we're just you dumbasses, you bought the game that we already
Overwatch 2
sold
is
you,
free.
and but some people bought it, didn't they?
They bought
You could
Overwatch.
pay for the single player, right? You could play buy
No,
the single player.
No, they had
Oh.
a single player plan for Overwatch 2 and they scrapped that.
So wait, nobody
right.
bought Overwatch 2. It didn't
No.
cost any money.
Overwatch 2 is free.
You pay for like the season passes, but that's
Yeah.
it. I think.
It was supposed to be a free to play, service.
Okay,
game.
okay. Clearly, I don't know anything about Overwatch, so I shouldn't be giving my opinion on it.
Mm.
But
No,
I
I get
still
it. Like
think
it is an
calling
L,
it 2
but I think
obviously
the
is a
L
huge L.
happened. It's not like anyone in the world doesn't know Overwatch 2's drama, right?
But I also saw like people memeing that like 2 more of the characters are like ninjas again, and there's already like 10 ninjas in the game or something like that. Again, I don't know the exact facts on that.
yeah,
but-
and I mean they're supposed to be like focusing heavily on the story, and everyone's just like, well, you had an opportunity to do that with the single player game that you never brought out.
hold on, I'm
um,
gonna find a meme, and like if it gets placed in the editing, I'm gonna put it up. If you decide that this meme is okay to share with the people,
It
we can
doesn't
put it up
have-
on the screen now.
It
But
also
if-
does it?
the conversation
Wow.
also happened in their press conference though about generative AI again, and I was just like, oh Jesus, people are gonna.
Wait,
lose
what
their
about
mind.
that they're using it or not?
Well,
using it,
so
or-
they gave the PR answer that effectively said like, hey, it's really important that we not only give our developers the tools they need to be successful, but also respect the fact that there are people out there who want to know that their work is like, quality work that they're playing and all that stuff.
Yep.
And they didn't acknowledge that they're using it, but effectively they said like, our developers want this tool, so we're gonna kind of like find a way, but we're gonna make sure we're very ethical about it, and make sure we're very, like
That's a good PR answer.
it's good. It was a really
job.
good PR answer.
They
I
better
like,
hope they don't fuck up and like put
Well-
some banners in the game with like.
well, it
weird
goes back to
writing
the
on it or something, but-
Expedition 33 nonsense, right? Like, the people got so mad briefly. but
They
got
were
so
saying
mad.
it's because they were the first people to say it.
No,
or, like,
Baldur's
for it
Gate
to
was
be
the first, I
uncovered.
think.
But
Yeah.
but everybody, like all these big game companies are using this, and they're
Yeah.
using backend tools that are a lot better than tools that we have access to. That are like do a
Well,
lot better job. They probably
they
it's
didn't.
part of the workflow.
Yeah.
Like it's working. Artists working in conjunction with technology. It's always been the case.
Yeah.
Like hopefully we see a continued like collaboration between artists and this new technology, and they don't try to replace artists. Because I do think
Well, it's more
we
than
had
just
this
art,
discussion
though.
earlier,
It's
but-
more than just art, right?
Yeah,
I
and
mean,
the
look
coding
at
and
the
stuff
Windows
too,
11
like-
drama where they're vibe coding Windows 11 and it's like in a shit state.
Look, we live in like a super new age of AI and stuff. Like this band-aid is eventually going to get slowly pulled off. Like everybody is going to be using this.
What are you talking about? Lithium's
Everybody
already
is
pulled it
using
off,
it
and
now.
he's built a slop website that everyone hates.
Yeah, slop website. So like I think that giving a PR answer now is smart, and I think that's going to probably be what video game companies try to do going forward. But on the
They
back
already
end,
are.
I
They already
guarantee
are.
fucking to you that they are using the shit out of it because it takes weight off takes workload
Well-
off the overly overworked technicians and artists.
Lithium, what do you
so-
have to say to our
Yeah.
critics about our website built with AI?
I do it all by myself. If I didn't. Here's the thing. I work in technology, right? I've been doing it for like 20 years. If there's a way to enhance productivity of a single developer and you're able to 10x, or whatever,
Or even 2x.
uh, you know, yeah, it doesn't matter. 2x, 10x, 50x, whatever. If you're able to enhance or increase the output of an engineer and that engineer knows enough to make that output quality, then 100% they should be using those tools and they should be leveraging that technology all day long, right? Don't do anything nefarious, don't do anything shady. And I don't think any of
Or
those folks
lazy.
are. I think that being able to develop things and get things out the door quickly is just, as AI becomes more predominant, is going to be more common. And the use of Gen AI and that workflow is just that's just how that's just how it's going to be, right? The
Yeah.
engineers have to be smart enough to know how to use it though. And if you're just vibe coding and you don't know what the hell you're doing, like, that time Frank tried to do something, he doesn't know what he's doing, right? It's
100%
hard
true.
if you it, it's hard if you don't know and
I
and
mean,
you're
hell,
still
even
trying to do
making an
it.
image without knowing how to prompt is challenging.
Right. Like
Yeah.
you got to know how to prompt, you got to know how to use the tools. So I don't knock the developers for wanting to increase their output, right? What I knock is the people who don't really understand, what the actual implications are. Now, if they're doing it from an art perspective or they're doing it from whatever, there's implications there and that stuff is fine. There's always going to be,
Yeah.
bad guys out there doing bad things, but most people are just trying to make it through the day, man.
Well, I think rightfully, like, public sentiment towards like AI art for like most people who are young and follow this stuff is like AI art is kind of icky. Like, is that like it just makes people uncomfortable that art that a computer can convincingly make a piece of art that like nobody thought that was gonna be possible like 10 years ago. Like that was like a job that was pretty fucking safe. It's like, what do you mean like a computer could make art? Like, no way. But we're living in a new age of this. So I think over a long time, public sentiment will probably change on that. It's like it doesn't devalue human-made art because a computer can make it also. It's like, well, it's still part of the process, still human making it. However, in an industry where they're trying to make as much money as possible for as little money as possible, like it can be problematic because there's a lot of people are going to lose their jobs. But I mean, automation comes for every profession. There's just a reasonable and amount of ickiness felt with AI art being pushed
Yeah.
instead of
Especially
real
since
artists.
it's taking from
I
artists.
I will
Yeah,
say
it is taking
though,
from artists, but it's a
a
capitalism problem, not a technology problem. And I can go
yeah,
on
I
and on
mean,
and on about this, but I will not for our viewers'
companies
sake.
companies are laying people off left and right because they think AI can come in and do a better job or,
Yep.
enhance the workflow of the existing people that aren't
Let
laid
go.
off.
Yeah.
But I think that that's going to burn them in the long run. I think that if you just let AI go without any oversight, you're going to create so much technology debt that you're going to be underwater, in a couple of years' time. So,
Yeah. That's a good
so
point.
it's very cyclical. This is
Are
just
we
the way it
getting
is.
close to the bubble popping? Or
I,
is it still
Nvidia
getting
is not
bigger?
bringing out
I,
any new graphics cards because they're so far behind on RAM and stuff.
Oh shit. Yeah.
yeah, it's getting crazy out there with the way that people are trying to hoard hardware and the power consumption and everything else.
Yeah. The power demands
There's
are also like a whole nother ethical
yeah,
issue
there's
with
ethic
so
there's
much
a lot of
generative
ethics
AI,
around
yeah.
it. A lot of ethical issues and things. I don't want to get into it because
During the
this isn't
snowstorm,
that
I could do a
podcast.
whole fucking
dur-
podcast
Yeah.
during
on
the
this,
snowstorm, we got
honestly.
an email from our power company saying, "Hey, we need to, be careful because everyone's using their power, and we might have to do some
Yeah.
blackouts if you don't
Brown.
lower
I got the
consumption."
same
rolling.
I got
And
the
I
same
just
one.
well, I just wanted to be like, motherfuckers, that goddamn Meta, you know, data farm you put out there, like they're the ones that should shut down for the fucking day, not me.
Yeah, they're not gonna brown
But
out, for
but I
real.
don't know.
But what if people need to ask ChatGPT about the pressing questions when their power's out and they're bored on a snow day, and they need to
Well.
keep their kids busy? They need ChatGPT, so
I should
Yeah,
take one for the team. You're right. All right,
you should thank them and kiss their feet.
let's put a bow on that AI.
What
And
were you talking about again?
I don't know, but I'm happy I got you off of it because you were starting to make me irate.
Tell
Crap
us
being
in the
toxic.
comments if you want a special AI podcast that I will lead and give you
Oh
all my
man, I
opinions
will.
on capitalism
Io and Scrap got into a
and
fight today
artists.
about us not being Golden Girls via an AI generated video.
I don't know if it was a
Yeah,
fight. I was
I'm working
You
on
were
that
so
video.
disrespectful to him.
I'm working on that video right now.
well,
It's
that's just how I
fine.
am. I don't know how to not be a different way. Like
All right. Ready
next
to keep
topic.
it moving?
What's the next one?
Yep. Cool.
Yes.
So
Sure.
let's talk about all right. So first off, Scrap, I read this and I went, wait a second. Scrap's not supposed to
What?
talk to Holly Longdale. You know who you need to find at BlizzCon?
Who?
Maria Hamilton.
Tell me
Now,
about Maria.
she is the effectively I believe she's the head of story now
Fire her immediately. Like out.
I knew
Hold
that
on,
was
hold on,
coming.
hold on. Was she the head of story in War Within?
Okay, hold
Who
on.
was the head of
Let's be
story in
fair.
War
Let's be
Within?
fair. Let's
I need to know
she's-
when she's been head
her
of story
official title is
since.
design director. So maybe I'm not being fair with her being head of story, okay?
Who is the head of story,
but-
and can we fire?
But I
them?
believe she is usually the person that they bring into interviews when it comes to the story of WoW, okay? So you can she's the face of the story. Let's put it that way. Is that fair?
That's a tough job, man. I would not want that job.
So she people were obviously worried about Sylvanas and she's saying she's not going to change. She is who she is. We're not trying to. And I think
well,
the,
I saw
the
this
pre-patch
title
event
and I
was-
like crashed out like a little bit. Because, I mean, I have a lot of emotions about Sylvanas, and I think most people can agree that she's become one of the most poorly written characters. Like,
Yeah, but they
in-
took a step in the
like
right
in-
direction in this past.
I
quest.
love yes, I really liked the step in the direction they were making in this most recent quest. I really did. I felt like it was a return to form of a pre
Well, you can
BFA
thank Maria
Sylvanas.
Hamilton for that.
I don't know if I have to blame her
Well-
for other worse sins yet, so I'm not going to thank her for shit.
So
Okay.
Maria Hamilton
Tell
has
me.
been a design director for content for the past 6 months.
Okay, no, this is not her fault then. This was
Prior
Maria,
to that,
I'm-
she was
I'm
she
so
was an
sorry.
associate design director for 2 years. So
But
She
she's probably
she came into the spotlight when the last patch of Shadowlands. Where were we?
Mm.
Zor. What was it? What's the name of that island we went to where the first ones were?
I talk about it all the fucking time.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. That's what I was
Zareth
like-
Mortis.
Zareth Mortis, right?
Yeah.
I think she came
So-
into the spotlight then when they did that
Uh-huh.
they did the
like
YouTube.
the worst story time of all story moment,
yeah.
story beat of all time.
she started in 2019 as a senior game designer for Quest Design.
Quest design, I can't be mad at you. I want to find, and somebody in the comments, please tell me also. You got a lot of work commenters this week. Like
Now
who
everyone
is-
that is in our comments knows how I feel every week when
who
we're
is
preparing for this
who
episode.
is responsible for the grand story, like the overall through line? I don't want to talk quest writers. You guys are great. You guys are doing your job. I want to know who is designing the
Chris-
whole thing.
Metzan said it's
Yes.
Fuck that
democratic,
guy.
so I think it's like
Oh,
a
never
team.
mind.
I think
Chris
it's like a
Metzan was
team
brought
of,
in, yeah, and he was
I
supposed
think
to
it's like
be
a team of
the
people.
wasn't his like
It's not just
title like
one person.
chief like narrative officer or something like that.
There's not like one person in that room of writers who was like, and like when
No,
they were
I-
pushing the story. Like, come on.
I'm willing to bet they had a lot of different ideas and they voted.
Can
Well-
I
voted
get back
democratically.
to my original crash out where they said Sylvanas won't change in midnight? It's like I was crashing out because like who the fuck is she? She has been like 15 different characters over a very short period of time. Nobody knows how to fucking write her. The gall of them in
depends.
BFA to say we love writing a
Scrap.
morally gray character, and that was a quote directly from them as she was exploding Teldrassil and Undercity in one fell swoop, and they're like, we love our morally gray queen. Like they literally don't know who the fuck she is. So what
It
is she not changing
depends.
from?
On the cubicle crawling, whether or not that's happening, that really drives the story.
You know what a better
and drives
title would be?
character.
Is we're re-evaluating Sylvanas' character arc.
No,
That-
no,
and I see the
I think
title of
that's-
that, and I'd be like,
No,
fuck yeah,
but I
that's
don't
it.
think that's
She
what they're
won't
saying.
change?
Yeah,
No,
we
that's
don't
what I
want to
want them to
change the
say.
character. The character
What is
isn't
the
arc.
character?
It's
Here's what
important
I
that the
want.
character has that arc that is internally logical, but we don't.
Uh-huh.
But we do want to hear players' thoughts about it. You're right, referring to my question. It is a very divisive character. There may be people who don't know her whole story, who maybe don't understand how she got to where she is. Maybe they do, and they don't believe that's right.
I don't think they fucking do. Where do I give the feedback? Where do I give the feedback on this?
The
Because she said
forum?
we want to hear. So
Go
where
to
do
the
I give the
forums.
The
feedback?
forums.
Because
Go
I
to
could write a
forums.
fucking novel
Email
on
this
what a
episode
mess
to her.
they've made. of this. Yeah, please. I could write a fucking novel on that. What do you mean
I'll send
logical
her a
character
message on LinkedIn.
Anyways, this is the point,
I've
Scrap.
never
This is the
seen a-
person you need to get into the elevator with at
Okay,
BlizzCon.
I do. I don't
We'll go
know,
to her
she
panel,
just
okay?
started. But I'm just saying that's a very good PR answer of like, oh yeah, she's very divisive. It's like, but not like where she's like, people don't understand the character. It's like, bitch, do you
They're not
understand the
gonna.
character?
She's not gonna
Like-
say they fucked up the character and I have to fix it. That's not what she's
I would
gonna
have
say.
way more respect for them and feel way better about it if they did acknowledge how badly they fucked up the character. Like
would-
if they
no.
were like, hey, we
'Cause
like,
that would lead
we're
people to think
starting
they're gonna
from
retcon
scratch.
her.
I want them to retcon her. They already fucking did retcon her multiple times. They retconned her a
Yep,
ton.
I knew that was coming.
Like so now we don't like retconning. Like just you don't know how to fix this character. I will say I did feel a little bit confident in the new patch. I liked how she came off, is that she's like a little bit abrasive, a little bit hard to like communicate with. She comes off as a bit nasty, but like at her core, she's not evil, right? Like she wears skulls and shit. She's done bad things, but it's like she's not evil. She's
She's like trying to take
rough around the
the
edges.
responsibility for everything she's done, but she's still being an ass about it, you know?
But I feel like that's the character arc they set up from like Warcraft, and
Yeah.
where this character has gotten a really fucking raw deal. And it's like she is kind of nasty because like she's been rejected. She died, she went through all this horrible shit, and at the end of the day they said, okay, but you can't come back. And it's like, so she's trying to take her people around and nobody wants them, and they're like, you suck and stuff. And she's like, well, what the fuck? Like, if you guys are all gonna think, hey, you suck and you're nasty and gross, it's like, well, I'm gonna be a little bit like nasty and like try to get what I want. And what she's always wanted is for her people to have like a place to be accepted. You know, has she always gone about it in the right ways? No. But that's the morally gray queen we love, not whatever the fuck they did post Legion. Like it was really a mess of all messes. So
Well-
that's thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
There was a conversation that also was had within this PC Gamer magazine interview where they were talking about some of the main characters aren't going to make it to the end of the world Soul Saga. So my question to you is, odd makers, right? Let's make our odds. Who do you guys has as favorites to die on the way along to the end of the world?
I mean,
Soul Saga?
historically, like Thrall's definitely gonna die because they kill every good horde leader. So like yeah.
So you think they'll just continue to double down on that?
I don't think they're capable of getting off the tracks at this point. They're so consistent.
Terrellian.
Terralion? Who gives a fuck about Terralion?
Do you think Terrellion's because we kill him?
I don't know if maybe. It seems like there's some light versus us action in
Yep.
Midnight based on some of the beats you can kind of see through some of the dungeons, or based on some of the raid fights. So
Yeah.
Is that what's
I
gonna
w-
make Illyria go full shadow? Is that Terralion dies?
I don't think so.
Oh.
I don't think it's gonna happen like the first season, but I
Yeah.
wouldn't be. I think it's pretty high chance that he is either going to die or sacrifice himself or something. I don't know.
I feel like
It just-
Terralion is like who actually is like Terralion's my favorite character, and I'm gonna feel really bad if he dies. They gotta kill like
I mean,
Anduin.
he's pretty big in like Warcraft lore, so he's considered a major character.
But do people like him?
I don't know.
I think that the story has been set up in WoW to make it not so much that people like him, as you know, because look what happened with Illidan and the light in Legion, and then also this short story where they kind of make him just like a grumpy man.
I feel like Terralion's not like a hard hitter. Like he's not like an iconic
No,
character.
you know,
He's
there's
not a
great
household
class in case of
character.
emergency characters. Thrall's one of them. Illidan's one of them. Khadgar
Yeah,
maybe.
Terralion is not one of them.
Right. Illyria, I think it's gonna die. I think that's just like she's gonna, you know, do something against Altath. That's
That would be. I would feel sad if Illyria dies. Like,
you hate Illyria. You called my horse Illyria. in
no, I
Minecraft.
called your horse Illyria because my
Wow.
horse is named Sylvanas. So, no, I don't hate Illyria. I don't like her, but I recognize her as an iconic character.
I feel like you're walking a weird line.
I'm walking a
Hey,
weird
I
line.
don't-
She's
don't like
not
her,
a
I
character.
don't hate her.
She's not a character I like, but I think she is an iconic, heavy-hitting character. And if she dies, I feel like they could make an impactful death out of that. Terralion, like, who cares
Well, the
about
thing
her?
is, I agree the opposite, Scrap. I think they won't kill another Horde leader because it'll just make the fans more upset.
Okay,
Because
let's
they
bet
always
against
kill
each
off.
other.
All right,
But
50,000 gold.
Sure, but they haven't like stopped doing that yet. Like, so I don't know why.
Look, I mean, I can understand. I will say this though, for our bet, it's whoever dies first, though, right? Because obviously, if they kill Thrall and then kill
Hold on, but
Anduin
we
or
have to
something.
say which characters. Oh, like Anduin or Thrall, like who will die first?
Anduin. Every
Whatever.
time I hear it, it's like giving me a little punch in the face.
Whatever. Like who they'll kill first? They'll definitely need to fucking kill Thrall first before
Let's
Anduin.
just clarify. They're saying there's important characters that will not survive the trilogy. This is not necessarily saying Midnight though. So like,
No,
there could be
yes.
stuff in like the end of like World Soul Saga too
Yeah.
that happens. Maybe Illidan
I'm just gonna
or
go hang out with them in
Thrall or-
Shadowlands. Like no big deal. I'm the Maw Walker.
I feel like so the way World Soul Saga is kind of shaping up, it feels like they're setting up the next generation of the major Warcraft characters with
That's cool. Like
people
Eretor.
like Eretor. So
Yeah, like
I wouldn't be
Eretor.
surprised if this is kind of like a kind of once this ends, you're gonna have you might still have like Jaina or something, but you're gonna have like new people that are the main people that go to the issues that you help. So I wouldn't.
So Eretor
is kind of.
Is Eretor's Alliance affiliated, right? Like he's an
No,
alliance.
he lives in
Silvermoon, yeah.
But why? Because Illyria's a high elf and Tyrellion's a human.
Because
they left him with the Horde when they disappeared.
Yeah, they were in the dark.
They
portal.
left him. Wasn't there still a war happening?
Yeah.
Were they still at war with the Horde?
They went into the dark portal and Khadgar destroyed it, so they never came out until Legion.
Why did Khadgar give Eretor to the Horde?
Who said?
No. It's her. It's her sister. It's her.
Yeah, she's a Silvermoon.
Farisa.
Yeah.
Farisa lives in Silvermoon. Okay, I'm not up on the
Windrunners are like heavily connected to Silvermoon.
But Illyria doesn't. She doesn't chill with the Horde.
She doesn't chill with anyone.
She doesn't.
She's a Windrunner who was a blood elf or a high elf. The blood elves were created when
chilled with the Alliance.
The blood elves were created, I think. Well, maybe I don't know. I'm not really good at my elf lore, but they were created not as a result of any of the Warcraft 2 lore.
Yeah, but they didn't want Sylvanas to hang with them. They were like, "Ew, yucky."
So what do you mean? Sylvanas died. She died defending them.
She died defending them.
Yeah, well, that was Kel'Thuzad, wasn't it?
And that might be part of the reason why the blood elves joined the Horde is because Sylvanas.
I'm looking forward to upping my blood elf, high elf lore because I'm gonna be honest. I'm not super up on the elf lore. I've never played an elf, so I don't know all of this shit.
All right.
I'm gonna need you to write me a thing.
Okay.
But
just quick, because we're running out of time. We're running out of time on this.
Is Eretor supposed to be like a cool Horde guy, or what? Like, what is he?
I think he's leaning Horde, right? But obviously, because like they let Tyrellian into Silvermoon out of respect for Eretor, right?
Okay. I'm hoping there's gonna be an Eretor quest or something. Wait, does the book go into Eretor?
The whole expansion's about him. You literally go on it.
I don't know how do you end up
there.
there.
You go with him to the different areas. Yeah, you pretty much go with him to all the different areas.
I'm fuzzy. I know that like Illyria and Tyrellion were kind of like deadbeat parents, right? Like they were not chill. They weren't around. So then he became like chill with the blood elves, I guess.
He became chill with everyone. He's like the social butterfly. Anyways,
it's a bit weird during a war.
Anyways,
what I'm trying to get to, I got sidetracked on Eretor, is I want a fucking awesome Tauren character. Where are fucking Tauren characters? Bane, Bloodhoof? No, pick a different one. Like he's not good. He sucks. He's pussified. He hasn't been good.
No.
You've not done anything with him.
What about Abyssian?
Abyssia's a dragon, you donkey. Like he's not a Tauren, he's a dragon.
Wow.
And he's a high mountain Tauren dragon anyway.
Did you just call him a donkey? That's not very nice.
I'm sorry. Abyssia's not
Scrap has amounted more money in her Toxie jar this one episode than I have.
That's because I have to fill the void of you not being toxic. But I'm just saying, we have not had a cool Tauren character like literally fucking in 100 years. Can we get an awesome troll character? I know we have Zappy Boy, whose name I can't remember and stuff. Like he's kind of fun.
Not been featured since BFA.
I know. That's what what's his name for real? It's not Zappy Boy.
They didn't give him a name until like 2 patches in.
Whatever.
You don't know it now.
We need a badass troll, a badass orc, and a badass tauren. And it like kudos if one of them's a lady. Like I know that too many lady characters. Just let me have one of those three being a lady, and we will be good. But we need to get back to the horde. I'm sick of all these fucking elves twinking around and stupid dragons and
I'm going to be very interested when we get to our last topic today about
Yeah, right. What the?
what's the last topic?
Because Scrap, you are going full in on this idea of the war in Warcraft.
Well, I like the war in Warcraft.
All right. I just quickly, what character do you think is most likely, and what character do you think least likely? So Scrap.
Thrall is dead.
Thrall is most likely. Who's least likely of the major players?
Out of who? So give me a list.
Yeah, out of the Thrall, Jaina, Anduin, Thoralion, the people who've been featured in the World Soul Saga as like a main. They've been in the cinematics, like Khadgar and
Jaina, maybe. Dadgar's dead also. Like they've been teasing that too much. They're gonna give him the axe. Thrall's definitely dead. I'm leaning Jaina. I don't think they'll kill Jaina.
Imagine Thrall and Anduin both die, and then after that, there's no more factions. They're like, we can't do factions anymore.
Well, because women will inherit the earth. That would be a huge problem for all the gamers.
I don't see. My safest bet is Anduin because they had that like prophecy of
that
Anduin.
He'll die.
No, that he would be. He's old in Legion. They had some prophecy from the Draenor guy, whatever. That he's gonna like lead the army of the light one day or whatever. Whatever. I mean, obviously that be maybe retcon, but to your faction point, I ask you, I feel like they are building to this idea that the Arathi Empire is going to be like the main antagonist going into post World Soul Saga. And that Anduin might be the one that can unite the two current factions against the new Arathi faction. Whether that's, bringing the war to Warcraft again, I don't know. So who do you think Ioski is the most likely though? You said Thrall and Anduin?
It's tough because I think about who's considered a major player, and I feel like especially in this particular story, like Illyria's it's mostly Illyria versus Zalatath, and everyone else just feels like kind of like a B note. I feel like no one feels like a major player anymore because they just haven't been featured. But
even though they were featured in the cinematic.
Yeah.
They were featured in the first patch a little bit.
I feel like a lot of these images have pictures of Thrall, and I don't know if that's just like they just are just trying to like foreshadow, or if it's just them just being like, oh, let's just pick a major character and throw people off. I know like this is PC Gamer or whatever, so it's not necessarily
I mean they have a picture of
but I do think
died already, but
I know that we kind of hinted at that we're going to talk about this a little bit about them killing off all the kind of masculine male characters, right? Like, or what's the right phrasing of that? Like the male role model characters, like, I guess
the men.
I mean, in fairness,
in
fairness though, like how many are men versus women in the first place?
Well, I know, but just saying that, like, currently, if like Thrall is not really like, I feel like Thrall is kind of like the last like paragon of masculinity left, and even then people are saying he's like pussified, like, but no, but he really I think giving it the pussified allegations are unfair for Thrall. I think Thrall is like a paragon of masculinity in that he's like a badass dude, but he's also like a family man, and he cares about his people, and he's like got emotions that he shows, and like he's honorable and shit. Like it's like the good masculinity, but if they kill that guy, it's like, I don't know, Andrew's gonna have to strap up or something and like take that place that like that void that Varian left. Like
I wouldn't. I feel like it might be Thrall just because Anduin. I feel he's kind of safe because
Anduin's safe as fuck.
Dad died, so I mean, I feel like he's So, but I'd have to go with Thrall then, I guess.
All right,
but I don't want them to kill Thrall.
Lithian, who's your most likely and least likely?
I'm just gonna be surprised when it happens, man.
You don't care.
He's vibe story.
No. I will not say I don't care.
I know why you won't say it because the commenters will come after you.
I'm just gonna say whatever happens, I'm gonna be super surprised about it, and I'm gonna come here and I'm gonna tell you guys how surprised I was that happened.
Were you surprised that Zalatath betrayed us after everybody told us that she was gonna betray us?
Yes.
Shut up. You're not.
Okay. Let's get into the main drama.
Oh God, we're still not at the main story.
No, we're not even at it. So,
your fault.
I'm going to build a backstory to this, okay?
Okay.
Oh man.
So Holly Longdale and Ian Hazacostas did a podcast for the Game Business Show. Okay. They essentially were talking about like, hey, we're trying really hard to bring WoW into the 21st century, bring new players to WoW. Ian Hazacostas even called out, for example, he's like, look, I mean, we introduced something like Delves, where if you were to go ask people on Twitter, if you go to ask people like the content creators, they'd all say this is not for me. Yet it's been an extremely popular, add to our game. And that housing is obviously something that's going to be huge for the game. Of course, there are people on Twitter and stuff right now saying like, this is stupid. There's no major thing for the introduction of this expansion. Housing is that thing. They're just like completely ignoring how important housing is. But there was one thing that has caused people to spiral out of control that Holly said, I would even argue like as an aside, I don't think she like planned on and kept this in her pocket for a part of the conversation. But she calls out that Chris Metzan, who was part of the original team that made WoW and original Blizzard team, said at some point that he regretted calling Warcraft because he felt like it wasn't as accessible and people were intimidated by the name. Right?
What was his alternative?
He didn't have an alternative. He just, again, we're not even sure if he said that. It might have just been like an anecdote to the fact that, like Warcraft, like Warhammer, for example. So here, there's a, I think, quote right here. Ian firmly believes that Blizzard's best years are ahead of them. Chris Metzan has sometimes thought they shouldn't have called it Warcraft, believing the name may sound too intimidating. But Holly contends that nobody really thinks about Warhammer, as an example, right?
People don't even call it Warhammer. They call it 40K. I mean, I guess there's regular Warhammer also, but like...
I hear people call it Warhammer.
Yeah, I guess so.
But I mean, again, especially in this day and age, right? Warcraft is far less intimidating than it was 20 years ago. And yet, despite that, Warcraft is one of the most successful gaming IPs, in the world. And so, like, of course, one, I don't think, okay, I'm sharing my opinions already. What are your thoughts on this, Scrap, the person who is wanting their masculine males back and stop the pussification?
They can't just change their IP now. I mean, if he's saying like, oh, like I wish I didn't call it that because it's so much more than that. Like maybe he was just trying to spin like, oh, it's like there's so much more than what could be contained in a title. Like fine, but obviously there's no way on the planet they're gonna change their like major IPs. Like
no, they're not now. No, that's not what they're arguing. They're just saying like if they could go back in time.
Worldcraft or something. Yeah, I think definitely like obviously Warcraft was like about like fighting stuff, like it's a tactical game and it made sense to call it that. And then World of Warcraft is like, to me, the emphasis is on world because that's what it was like breaking ground as is like, dude, you're gonna like exist in this fucking world that we made, like huge ass world, and it's part of the Warcraft IP. So like, I mean, if they called it just like world, I feel like that'd be more.
No,
apt.
that's not what they're arguing. No. Like,
I don't understand.
Like the idea is that okay, so I don't have an alternative to give you, but the idea that Warcraft
I need an alternative, or I can't.
Yeah. Okay. Look at even Minecraft, right? Like
I love Minecraft.
The craft in Minecraft, I don't think means the same thing as the craft in Warcraft. Like I think
Warcraft is an entire phrase, whereas Minecraft is like two words smashed together.
Yeah, mine and craft together, right?
Yeah.
But like Warcraft for me is about the idea of what's it called when like you have Sithun and all that stuff, like the word craft is in it.
Old God craft.
No, it's like why can't I remember this now? The idea of like this like void.
World of Voidcraft.
No,
I googled it.
There's a show. Lovecraft, right? Lovecraft.
World of Lovecraft?
No. Jesus Christ.
That's pussy.
Okay, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not an expert on this, right? The idea of because Lovecraft was the name of the author who wrote this kind of stuff.
Yeah,
right?
that's like his name.
Yeah. That's where I believe Warcraft comes from, is the idea of Lovecraft, and then there was this world of,
But Warcraft
fantasy.
is like a phrase, like it's like the craft of war.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I looked it up, like the skill, art, or strategic mastery required to wage war, or StarCraft, which I don't really know what that was about, but
well, yeah, StarCraft is like makes me question, but Warcraft is like a word already that I feel like it exemplifies like a tactical game, which Warcraft was.
Warcraft was it was an old RTS, man.
Game. Yeah.
Yeah, like it was a builder. It was like StarCraft.
It was a strategy game.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
a strategy game. It was an RTS, and that's where Warcraft came from. What are you guys talking
They
about?
should've
No, what I'm
called it
saying is why they chose to call it
Fantasticraft.
Warcraft. So okay, it's 1998 or whatever.
Yeah.
And they're like,
Yeah.
hey, we need to name this game. Now, granted, yes, Warcraft was already a word, right? But at the time,
Oh, they could
and,
have called
and
it Warcraft.
I'm speculating like crazy here, so please do not think
Yeah.
that I'm trying to assert
We're
that
in
I
the
even.
speculation
I'm
corner.
just like, could this be a possibility? Is that there was like this idea of Lovecraftian fantasy, right? And granted, back in the day, Warcraft didn't have this kind of complex story it does now.
It's more Tolkien though, like
What's,
orcs
Maybe,
and
yeah, maybe.
humans and
Yeah.
than Lovecraft.
Yeah, sure.
So Tolkien craft.
That's how I always read Warcraft is where it got its name from, is because again, StarCraft came around and maybe they just said, let's be lazy and call it StarCraft,
I
right?
think all the best games end in
Well,
craft, and they knew that from the very
war,
beginning.
it was the
They were the
war. It was
first.
the war between the humans and the orcs. But
Yeah.
either way, where were you going with the
My
commentary?
point
We're
is
going
this,
with
like okay, so he's like, oh, I wish I didn't name it Warcraft because it kind of had this like heavy weight to it, like, you know, again, going back 30 years now.
Well, I think he didn't know what it would become.
Of
that
course,
would be so much more.
But he's saying like, oh, I kind of made it, maybe I leaned a little too heavily at the time into this idea of Tolkien and Lovecraft and, you know, D&D and Warhammer, where at the time those names were intimidating.
Mhm.
Whereas today they're not. Warhammer's not intimidating. Warcraft's not intimidating. And again, Warcraft and Warhammer are one of the most known names in the gaming IP sphere. And so I like his calling that out was more of just like probably not even related to the idea that the best years of Blizzard and WoW are ahead of itself, right? And people latched onto this thinking,
I
oh
would
my
love to
God.
pick his brain on that comment. Like,
Yeah,
what were you trying to
scrap
say?
you and everyone else right now.
I know, but is that why everybody's like, what
They're
was he trying?
crashing
People are
out.
speculating.
People are
Yeah.
losing their mind thinking that, and you know, I'm joking saying it like people that's gone Wolecraft, but the reason why they're saying stuff like that
Wolecraft,
is
that's a
so.
great name.
So the reason why people are saying that is
Wolecraft.
because like right now
Why?
the Love in the Air event is happening, and like this is the thing you can get from the box.
What
like,
the fuck?
you know,
Valentine's Day is woke now. What
Scrap.
the fuck?
scrap. Like they're and of course it's a stretch.
Butterflies are woke.
It's a
Dude,
stretch.
Butterflies are
But
insects.
they okay. So someone on Twitter coined the term the Disneyification of WoW. Right.
Oh, I do want to talk about this. I remember. Yeah, I
So
want to talk
like
about
You
this.
do
that's
know-
what they're all
Yeah.
leaning into.
Okay,
So
okay.
you do know that in the heyday of World of Warcraft when it first came out, you know what Holly Longdale was doing?
What?
God.
She was producing Disney games.
Oh yeah.
Really?
Yeah, dude.
Oh, that's wonderful.
She worked as
Lithium
a
spurring the
Hold on.
Disneyfication of WoW.
Listen.
It's
The
funny
iceberg
that you
just
said
keeps
that
getting
because
deeper.
that's
I wanna-
where she started. That's where she
Yeah.
started her producing career was at Disney, producing games like Phineas and Ferb and the Tinkerbell game and all those Nintendo DS games that came out in
Oh,
the
dude.
Disney space. So, but she went to EverQuest and she did stuff at EverQuest, and I enjoyed the heck out
Did
of
she
EverQuest.
Disneyfy it? Is that why EverQuest is dead?
Well,
You know?
yeah, it got
Is
bought
it
out by Sony. It's a
Tinkerbell?
whole thing.
Because the Valentine's Day event in EverQuest that
but-
Holly
So,
Longdale put in there.
Let's come back to the WoW discussion. Thank you, Lithium. That
Well-
actually was very insightful. Thank you.
That's very
It's so
insightful, Lithian. Thank you.
The point
Can I-
being
wait,
though,
Okay, go on. Give your point.
this
'cause
this
I'm
was a
ready to latch on
podcast
to
made for game business insiders, right?
this. Mhm.
Is
They
that
were
what the
talking
podcast-
about like the business side of the game, and of course there is
Yeah.
obviously talking about like, well, our players love this, like they love housing, they love delves, but they weren't
Yeah.
like saying, oh, we wish we made WoW this, or we wish like what effectively they're saying is we're trying to listen to everyone, not just the content creators and the people who are the most vocal, and as a
Hmm.
result, we came up with things like delves. And then in tandem, things like this come out, and people are like, "Oh my God, the Disneyfication of WoW is happening," and you know, Thrall is pussified.
that's
Thanks
a
to
stretch.
Can I give an opinion here? That's going to be
Sure.
nuanced.
When have
okay?
you
Wait,
ever
wait.
asked for that?
Yeah, I
amount?
know.
Just
I'm
let Frank
asking
finish
now.
first.
No, I
Wait,
mean
you
I've got my point
finished.
across. I've got my.
He was
point across.
winding
Okay.
down, so I'm going to start winding up. Is that I do recognize and even agree with the sentiment. Is that I do miss when there was a focus on war as part of the storyline, right? Like I do kind of. I thought the premise of BFA was like a banger storyline. Is that like, dude, the Horde and Alliance have been at war and we've been kind of soft about this. It's like, let's actually have them like fighting each other. Like let's actually like spin up some team you know, what do you call it when people are excited about their football teams? Like that sort of shit. Right now,
Well,
Horde and Alliance feels very like um arbitrary because
I'm
it's
so
like, why can't
surprised
I
Scrap is taking
trade
this
what?
stance. I'm
What? You
so
thought I would take the
surprised.
stance?
Yeah, I'm surprised.
No, I'm just
well,
saying that
the problem. You're
I'm not
right,
saying it's
Scrap.
ruining it, that like it's ruining it, but I just feel like that you and I can't trade a ring when we leave the dungeon because you
When
are on a different team, and I'm like, well, why? I do everything with this Worgen guy,
So
and I'm a
wouldn't that push you
Tauren.
into the other direction of not having the faction war?
Well, either that or, but I'm just like, if the factions are still present, like I go to Orgrimmar and you go to Stormwind or whatever, like I've kind of always thought that at some point some powder keg is going to burst and we're going to be back at war again. I think that would be such an
well,
awesome like way for the story to go. That would surprise everybody. Like fucking, oh, Dalaran fell out of the sky. That's not surprising. What the fuck ever. You're going to throw whatever random city into the ground. Like if
uh,
something happened that we're
The
suddenly
one
at
floating
war
city, by
again,
the way.
but, like, it would be cool if, like, we're suddenly
it's
at
never
war
gonna end.
again, and, like, then we could get back. I'm wearing my red, you're wearing your blue, and blah, 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 and we're, like, still in a
Yeah,
guild for some reason. I don't know. Like, it would be hard to do. So I totally ally with that sentiment of, like, I feel like I'm gonna get sick of fighting, like, another otherworldly monster all the time,
but that's
and
the problem.
yeah,
It's always us versus whatever they
monster.
create, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no nuance between the players. There's no there like there isn't factions. There are, but there isn't anymore. There isn't, like your choice of what character to create doesn't really have a lot of implications because
Yeah,
it doesn't matter
100%.
anymore, right? Like I miss that nuance. I
I miss
miss
that too.
yeah, that was fun. I enjoyed that. And you had
Yeah.
that camaraderie with the Alliance or the Horde. And those were times when I mean, I still enjoy playing the game, but I really liked that I was part of the Alliance. And
Yeah, I miss
it
the
was
team sports aspect of it.
right. And so now it's all just us versus whatever giant monster, Dimensius or whatever, gets created, and we have to go kill it together because that's what the game is. It's very Disneyified, I
But I
guess.
see, I'm not making the bridge between, like, Disneying or
I
woking
don't
it,
know.
like,
I don't
I don't
understand
think
it.
that's a weird kind of gap to bridge. I think that
It
people on
is.
it makes sense to me that Twitter people are bridging it because their brains are fried, but,
Yeah.
I don't think that we're not at war because Disney. I think
No,
that
no.
they recognize that they're limiting their player base. If, like, I leveled a character on Horde and you leveled an Alliance and we can't have a guild and we can't trade and I have to make this character and I don't want to. Like they're making it easier, more player friendly to have us not at war anymore. I mean, but I do miss that. And so I can understand
I
why
miss it.
people are like getting angry and they're like, I miss it, and also it's woke, and that makes me hate wokeness because they took my war out of Warcraft or whatever.
Well, the whole woke thing, I don't understand, but
Yeah.
I think if they added some nuance to your choices, I would enjoy that, right? And I think that would help drive like they're talking about leveraging the IP, right?
Mm.
And a lot of the IP was originally created around Horde versus Alliance,
Yeah,
right?
orcs
And all
versus
that stuff.
humans, like,
Right. Orcs versus humans originally, but
Yeah.
like, you know, I I I feel like they've taken it to a place now where they can't really go back to that,
Yeah,
right? So
they
they have to
can't.
come up with there's got to be a new nuance that happens that creates a riff, or like they got to do something with the story, or they got to do something with, they have to do something different. And I think that was the original intent behind some of the commentary. The issue is our players, our community, especially those on Twitter, can take something and turn it into something completely different through uh, tweets or whatever they do out there. I
Yeah.
don't go to Twitter that much. I think that's where Frank and Io hang out a lot. I don't mess with that. So
Well,
All right.
I
Hold on.
can
I
I
ask
make
you.
a small
Hold on.
Oh,
I
sorry,
wanna
go
hear
ahead.
Oski's opinion.
I ask you, what's your take about the wokeness?
wokeness.
Wokeness. I mean, I definitely like the vibe in older WoW. Playing classic, it definitely feels different. Um, but also things change, and there's new people writing the game now that weren't there when Blizzard was founded, and I think, aside from now there's really no factions anymore. A lot of it's more everyone comes together to take on bigger threats, and it's kind of been that way since like Cataclysm, and I know obviously it kind of went back to that after that with Garrosh and Mop
BFA, huge.
and Warlords, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know why anyone really cares, to be honest. It's one of
Can I
those
make
things where if you enjoy the game, like you're playing WoW in 2026, you're not playing for any of this stuff. You're playing because you like how the game plays. At this point, like everything else is just flavor they need
not
to add.
true?
Flavor they
Not
need
true
to
for
Well,
add.
me.
I think people get concerned about where they're going to take the IP and what they're going to turn it into. And if they do go down a path that the community doesn't like, or that doesn't create the right amount of nuance between the characters, then maybe there's another game that's going to come out that will. Hopefully that isn't a fraudulent game, but
Can I
whatever.
I want to make a pitch, okay? And this
Sure.
is my application. Get this to Holly Longdale's desk. This is my application as a writer for World of Warcraft.
I'll email it to her.
Okay. I think it would be a really easy and even relatable storyline if, let's say, these like our big faction leaders, our Anju and our Thrall, or our Eretor, or whoever the fuck, like are really focused on this shadow war thing. And then what's happening in Ashenvale, all of a sudden the Night Elves living there and the orcs living there are like suddenly just like, dude, like we are still having problems. Like all of a sudden orcs are taking our land again. Like our leaders are like out of touch, that we're still having issues down here. And there's like could be small faction wars happening with people who are like out of touch with all the shadow shit, because like a random fucking orc in a logging camp in Ashenvale like doesn't fucking know about this Zaltas shit probably. And it's like, this guy's only been like 5 years since they've been at war. Like there could be interesting stories to tell in that space, where it's like there could be areas where the Horde Alliance are suddenly, a war is sparking up again in like small places. And it might be the end of that storyline is we all hold hands in kumbaya or whatever. That's fine.
But
The
the problem with this scrap from a game design perspective
Yep.
is that if you're the hero that goes there to help, let's call it resolve the conflict, right?
Yeah.
You can't kill the opposing faction and resolve it at the same time, right?
Why not?
Because you're committing
Maybe
part
I'm
of
on
the
the side of
crimes.
those orcs.
No, but that's the point. Then you're not going to resolve
Yep.
the conflict, right?
Yeah, it would be interesting if like you could choose like.
Yes, of
that
course that'd
I
be
wanna
interesting,
kill
but
those
that'd be
people.
so messy, right? Like,
But let's say that storyline is just happening, and the way that you work through that storyline is purely through PvP. Like this is like,
Sure.
hey, like PvP has its own storyline this time, and it's like this is what it's about.
Sure.
It's like, oh, you're going back to Warsong Gulch because there's shit happening again.
The second problem with that is now market that as on the box, cover art and cinematic.
I don't think that needs to be a cover art story. I think the main story can just be that. It would just be an interesting way to say like, hey, like your faction, like your team sports.
So you're
does kind of
saying
matter
like
in
C
this way.
plots of like an like a quest chain in the new Silvermoon is,
Yeah.
the Alliance are allowed in Silvermoon, but there's a quest chain
There's like racist people in
where,
Silvermoon.
well, no,
I
but
feel like
maybe
they were
outside, like maybe
realistic.
outside there's a clashing happening, right?
Yeah, like there's like some grandpa elf
Yeah,
who's like, well, I
but
guess
I'm-
an
I'm-
elf would be like chill with the Alliance probably.
But here's the thing,
like,
I'm fully
Grandpa
supportive of that like
Yeah.
flavor, of course, right? I
Yeah.
think the best example of this was the attack in Wrath of the Lich King, where the faction of the Undercity broke off and tried to,
I love that
attack,
quest
right?
line where Barry
But
Mathras.
it was
like,
it was like
goes through and stuff.
resolved almost very quickly, right? Like we raided the Undercity and we sorted it out and we were back to the same
Yeah.
shit, right? Here's the thing. I don't give a shit about the factions, right?
You don't care at all. You like.
I don't care at all.
Kumbaya?
It's not that I'm not I'm not woke, right? I'm not pro kumbaya.
Okay,
right?
listen, Frank is
What-
not woke.
Frank is
Wow.
Disney.
He's
I am
he's a
awake,
slept-
y'all. I'm awake.
Bro,
That's
Frank
the
is-
variant of it.
No way, dude. If you're not woke, you're slept. Frank
Fine,
is a
I'm
slept
slept.
king, an
Oh,
admitted
no.
slept king. Dude.
Listen.
He hated that centaur wedding in
Listen.
Dragonflight. he was.
Wow.
He was.
Listen.
He wouldn't sell them the cake.
I care about playing with my friends and removing the restrictions to do so, right? I think the story is not served best in the MMO space with this idea of Horde versus Alliance. It was good in vanilla, but even then, It was done in a sense of just a PvP aspect. Now, the problem is you could argue, and in general, is that PvP is dying in WoW. That's a
Yeah.
different discussion, of course, right? But that still has a lot of the Horde versus Alliance flavor to it. And like there are ways that you can make it so that there's a Horde faction issue going on, and BFA is a good example of this, right? We walked into BFA thinking this was going to be a Horde versus Alliance war. The first patch had the tension, but it didn't really like resolve it. And then the second one was, the Battle of Dazalor, huge, Horde versus Alliance. But then like 10 minutes later, we just like start realizing, oh, hold up, there's a bigger problem here, and it just goes back to again.
We have to work together.
This is where my Lovecraftian thing is like the old gods are here again. And like that's the stuff that sells the game. It's the big baddie, the big oh shits.
I agree with you. It's like
it's
the
just hard to do that.
the Ragnaros, like
because the stakes are high enough that in this Alliance versus Horde, you can't kill off the leaders like crazy, right?
So
and how do you make it so this tug of war always happens so that one faction isn't imbalanced with the story than the other? It's like
I think
so
there has been
challenging.
struggles with that, where it's like they were always making the Horde kind of
the bad
guy, and it's like the Horde wasn't the bad guy. There was just like one bad dude leading it who was, and everybody else was along for the ride and like didn't want to be part of it, right? And it's like that's not really great storytelling either. But so I think what they need to do, and every
sorry to jump in. Every expansion ends with us having to come together and solve the problem anyways.
Yeah, but it's nice to come together if we're apart. If we're already together, it's not as exciting that we had to come together. You know what I mean? Like, but what I think, and I think they're moving towards this with obviously like the new big city is Silvermoon. It's a Horde city, and it's like we're all gonna hang out there. Like they're pushing more in this direction, and I think it's gonna continue that trend. I would like to see the faction restrictions completely removed. Like no blue, no red, no male, no female, it's body type 1, body type 2. You get these ones.
Wow. Okay, so now we're back to what
right now.
I'm just saying that's the comparison I'm making, where it's like you got the 1 and the 2, and we all hang out together. The only reason there's a 1 on this one is because they used to be Alliance. The only reason there's a 2 on this one is because they used to be Horde, but like there's no restrictions. You can go to Stormwind, you can go to Orgrimmar. Like, I feel like for immersion's sake, I would prefer that to what we have now of like we're all hanging out, but like I can't trade you a ring when I leave.
No, like okay, lift all the restrictions on that end, right? Let's say that world exists, right? Where the systems are fully supportive of this idea that I can play with my friends whenever I want, right?
Yeah.
I still think that it's nice to have this idea of Horde versus, not Horde and Alliance, I'm gonna say, because like it's different cultures, it's different, even within the factions is different.
It's a little bit weird
right?
that like you can't go to Orgrimmar if you're a human. It's like why? Like it's segregated.
But that has nothing to do with body type 1 or 2 or faction 1 or 2.
Sorry, faction 1 or 2 is basically what I was saying. Body type 1 or 2, I was mixing up things.
Okay.
Right?
So, but if we take a step in that direction, Scrap, let's say like they have this emissary program, right? Where lore-wise, the 2 major cities have decided we're going to start letting. And in fact, actually, there was a conversation in another interview with PC Magazine about how, based on how Silvermoon's reception goes, they might redesign Stormwind and Orgrimmar. Okay.
Yeah,
so
I would love that.
Part of that, let's say, part of that redesign and part of the lore, however they build it, is the Horde and the Alliance slowly start integrating into each other's cities. Now, they're not maybe allowed to live there, but they're allowed to visit. Right.
I like so. Okay,
which, by the way, they do in their neighborhoods right now. I can live in
dream
Horde neighborhood as an Alliance.
Yeah. So in my best dream, I would like there to be acknowledgement of existing faction tensions still. I think that would be a nuanced, interesting story. When did they do that? That I can't come to Stormwind. I mean, I would like it to be acknowledged by characters in the story.
Well, you can't come to Stormwind right now. What do you mean?
No, I know. Is that what you're saying?
And Silvermoon, they literally acknowledge it as saying, like, look, you're allowed here, but nowhere else.
Yeah, I want to see the story to like take that on a little bit more, and the characters to take that on.
Sure.
Like, that would be my dream scenario, right? And that there'd still be a reason for me to be Horde or Alliance. However, secondary dream, if that's not possible, that's not on the table, I would like full integration with like I can go to Stormwind and visit my boy Anduin. I've saved him a ton of times. Why can't I as a Taurian go hang out with my boy Anduin? Like Anduin thinks I'm cool. So like
Anduin.
I'm not allowed to come because I'm a cow. Like that just seems a little bit antiquated. It's not very woke. I'm just saying it's not very woke. And I am woke. Frank's not gonna come out as woke, but I will come out at woke.
come out
I
as woke.
love the
I'm
centaur
woke.
wedding. I cried. I thought it was great. Like,
I-
and I love the butterfly mount. I think it's cute.
Yeah, but
I
that's
will
because you're a
never ride it.
girl.
No, I'll never ride it because my characters
love
are fucking
Disney.
huge. And also the Disneyfication thing. Hold on, I don't want to get off on a sidetrack, but like I said this before when people were saying Disneyfication, big problem. I'm like, dude, WoW is like, look at WoW compared to like Final Fantasy or like Old Republic or something. WoW has always been like kind of bold and cartoony and animated looking. Like it's always had that character, that saturation, the way the characters move and stuff like that. Like it's always looked like this. The butterfly didn't suddenly start making WoW look Disney or whatever the fuck, or the housing trailer, which is universally loved by everybody with a brain. Like that's good stuff. I'm sorry that you don't like whimsy.
So
I feel like you guys talk yourselves into a circle.
yeah, we do.
I love talking to a certain
Point,
like,
here,
this fucking
let's move on.
thing.
So then, Scrap, as
gotta
this
move
has all been
on?
unfolding this
What?
weekend, right? Today they dropped a new, like
Today?
the 2D or the 2.5D videos
Oh, I love these.
of
These are
Xalatath.
great.
All right, now
Oh,
I don't.
gross. Yuck.
Well, so this is like not horrifying, but it's like for a 2D animation video. There's some like jump scares in here. I'll see if we'll let it play while we're talking, but they like.
Well, WoW's always had both, you know. It's like can be
Well,
dark,
but I
and
don't like.
cartoony.
Yeah, mounts are like cute and whatever because like people who collect them like the cute mounts sometimes.
Yeah.
But the idea here is that like I feel like Xalatath's story and Illyria's story hasn't had too much Disneyfication to it, right? Like Dalaran was like obliterated, and Illyria and Xalatath have been like going back and forth, and at no point do I feel like they're gonna break out into a song. All right, here's where
Yeah.
the Xalatath I think pops up out of nowhere. Yep, there we go. Right, and so like she
Probably should come feet first.
yeah, they did it on purpose. Oh no, but there's like even
Yeah.
a scene in this where like a child is like turned to dust, right?
That's cool.
So like, I don't feel like there's a lot of weight to this idea that
But WoW's always had both things. Like,
Yeah,
'cause it's
well-
such a big game. Like, there has to be baby cows, like or baby ducks, like because ducks have babies. You know what I mean? Like, it's a big
sure,
world.
but like
Ducks have babies.
but that's
Yeah.
I don't even
Good
like
call.
is that a Disney, do they own the copyright on the idea of ducks
I
having
don't think-
babies?
I don't know. I have
They
to
might.
really pick the brain of what somebody is worried about as Disneyfication. Like making it more childish and woke, I guess, is what they're afraid of. But it's like the game's not childish because there's a butterfly mountain, and if it's talking about like the visuals of it, it's always had.
It's
this
always had the
kind of-
cartoony, yeah.
It's always had the cartoony
Yeah,
look,
because it's a
The game-
20-year-old game that like can't look.
and it looks
like
fucking
Call of
good.
Duty.
Like
Yeah,
it
it
looks
does.
really good.
The game
Well, that's just
has
because you
to be able
upgraded
to
your graphics card
cater.
finally.
Yeah.
It has to be able to cater to all audiences, and
Yeah.
and I think it's such a wide. I mean, it's such a wide base that there's going to be things for me and there's going to be things for you, and I think that's okay. Like I don't know what the big deal is. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah, you
I-
don't have to ride the butterfly, dude. Like, chill.
Yeah, you don't.
It's not
You don't
mandatory.
have to get the butterfly. Like nobody's making you get a butterfly.
Like the big
mount.
mount right now is that
Yeah.
mount you get from the meta achievement where you take like a huge tank and run over people with it as you spawn it in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't.
we got
I don't
tanks
know.
in the game.
But Tavon,
game
he's
has-
Disneyfication.
Yeah.
The game has so
No.
much stuff that it's built over the past 21 years that it's fine. Everything is fine. Like I don't
Yeah.
Well,
I don't know what the big deal is.
I think a part of where this is spawning from though is that great game cinematic they had for the player housing that we talked about last week
I
because-
can't.
because
I
it
like
looked
that.
like
Yeah.
Fortnite-esque, right?
No, but I'm literally like aghast. I can't even fathom how somebody would see that and be like, "That looks shit." Like that
people
trailer
loved
is
it.
so
I don't
good.
think well, we're split. Well, I say we're. They're
Who?
split, right? People love the
Who's split?
cinematic, right? But at the
Okay,
same
yeah, yeah.
time, that
Who's
cinematic
split?
didn't have the tone of any other cinematic that's used to advertise WoW usually. And so
I
like
thought
the
it was, like,
tone is where
more
they're,
of
I
a-
think, leaning into the Disneyfication of it.
But
But I'd even argue it's not the
Yeah.
Disneyfication. It's like more of like the Fortnite and like Riot Games of the world that have that more, again, like Dota and League of Legends, they don't have high-end graphics like Call of Duty does or whatever, but they have that kind of art style, and if anything, that's the thing they're leaning into. But they did it with one cinematic, which, by the way, was a cinematic geared towards the more casual player base that loves housing,
I
which is
also
their
like that
huge,
it's like
feature.
like a bit tongue in cheek, as it's like is showing you game mechanics like in like a I don't know, in like a grounded way, where it's just like, yeah, she like kills the crown to make a teapot stand out of it. Like, I'm gonna actually be doing that sort
Yeah.
of thing.
Can I?
It's like,
What?
and that's what actually the gameplay is gonna be. It's not gonna be me
Well, and
killing a
those the
fucking
orcs
sick
bringing all the
dragon.
flamingos into their yard.
That was my yard. They copied me.
Is
Like,
all the commentary about this in Twitter? Like, where are you hearing this stuff?
yeah, I
Because
think
I
it's
don't.
gonna be a loud minority problem.
It is a loud
Like,
minority
Yeah,
problem.
yeah.
I just,
and
I mean, we just need topics for the pod. I'm sorry.
no, we.
Yeah, because
This
we're
isn't.
not gonna make it 2 hours unless we have this
Yeah,
topic already over 2.
I could bring up a very poor movie called Spirit, and we could talk for another 6
Don't
hours.
start.
But but
You guys
like
have to stop making inside jokes on the podcast.
Yeah, I know. But
They'll catch
it's
on
really
eventually.
we hang out a lot. We hang out a
Yeah.
lot. We talk a lot, and so there's going to be a lot of these weird jokes. But I think this is not. I don't think we need to carry this further. I just think it's silly.
Okay.
Me,
Well, then let's put it to
I
bed
don't.
because
I don't
we're
know
over
how to-
2 hours already.
Yeah.
None of us
Let's go.
think that the game is getting Disneyfied, right? Like, there's none
don't.
of you
No,
think that's
no,
happening.
unless IO does, but nobody lets him
IO.
talk. So
What
I
do you
don't think
think
it's
about?
Disneyfied. I don't even know what the hell that even means.
That's
I
what I
do,
don't even know.
I don't know.
I do
Frank
think
made it up.
the tone overall in the game has changed a bit, but I think it's more reflective of the kind of things you'd see today in media. It's not so just like human orc smash. It's like, okay, now there's more nuance to some of the characters, and some of it's good nuance and some of it's not good nuance, but it's deeper than it was for sure.
But when did
Deep.
Mists of Pandaria came out? Like 12 years ago, 15 years ago? That cinematic was super fun and silly. Like, we've
Yeah, but
always
it had,
had
but
this
it had
in the
some
game.
And
serious.
people
it had some
hated
serious-
it.
Oh wait, they did.
Yeah.
Fuck.
People
I
hate-
love.
I
I
love
love
that.
it.
I love that.
In fact,
cinematic.
that's why what they did Warlords of Draenor. They're like, we're putting the war back in Warcraft. Because we were so
Yeah.
disappointed with the pandas.
Which
What?
is weird because I thought it had a good reception. I think people on Twitter are just going to complain about things, and that's why I don't hang out on Twitter like you guys do. I just don't understand
Yeah.
the need.
We're-
to
In
complain.
fairness,
Complain.
a lot of
Listeners
people
cool.
came to the defense and said, like, "What the hell are you talking about?" But
Yeah.
but it's just one of those things where I feel like, yes, we're obviously pulling it from Twitter. However, if Technique were on this podcast right now, like, we'd have to have another hour for him just to spew that kind of sentiment, which he actually
I
did in our
think
Discord
Technique-
like a week ago.
I think Technique is a good litmus test for like a lot of the people playing though. Like I don't want to
Not
say
a
like
lot, but
he's
like
more
a
in
good
touch.
vocal,
He's in touch with some of the sentiment like that these people echo, and I do value Technique's opinion sometimes. So
I
I
don't.
think it's good to know that there are people like there's something rubbing them the wrong way. And like I said when I opened in this conversation, I do miss the Horde versus Alliance. I think that was kind of an iconic draw point to the storyline, you know, and
Yeah.
it's gone, and that's fine. That's the direction they wanted to move with their woke ass game. That's cool. I'm only subbed for the.
Woke-ass game.
I'm
Oh my
only subbed
gosh.
for the trading post. So like, don't take my opinion into consideration.
You know, somebody made a comment about how I say "oh my gosh" a lot, and you know what it is? It's the takes. It's the scrap
It's
claw
his
takes.
takes. You
It
can't
makes me
blame
say
me.
"oh my gosh." Like, it's ridiculous.
That's
Let's
not
move on.
ridiculous.
All right,
What's the next topic?
we're
What's the
all
next
happy
topic?
being woke,
Yeah.
is what I'm hearing. Okay,
Yeah.
Look, I'm just saying the people bitching about the fucking butterfly mount, I'm guarantee you they think Invincible's a sick mount and it's a fucking flying
Look,
pony. That's all I'm saying.
Speaking of
Oh my
Disneyfication,
gosh.
right?
I can't.
Yeah,
As my
I'm just saying.
off-topic outro topic,
right.
when the hell did Disney get so goddamn expensive? No
Disney
wonder
what?
everyone wants the
Disneyland?
Disneyfication. Yeah, my daughter's
Oh,
turning
yeah.
6, and my wife wanted to take her on a solo weekend, you know, mom and daughter kind of thing. And I was like, sure, I'll book it for you. And then I was like, oh, because my wife, bougie as shit, wants to have like the VIP, get to Lightning Lane, everything
Right.
or whatever.
Dude,
So of
just
course that's like
basic
expensive as
pass
shit.
is like $200.
Yeah,
for
just
the
to get in
basic
is
pass.
$300, right?
The pleb pass is like
Yeah.
$200.
So anyways, no wonder everyone wants Disneyfication everything. Jesus.
When they're making money hand over fist. That's what I would say. People are knocking Holly Longdale for working at Disney. Like, dude, she was like hella successful, working
Yeah.
on hella successful IPs. Like,
Well, I'm also jealous because they're gonna go to Epic Universe where Mario World is, and I'm gonna miss that.
I heard it's not that cool.
It's not that cool, I think, from an adult's perspective, but my 6-year-old daughter.
Yeah, it's like really small.
Fucking flip.
Oh yeah, 6-year-old gonna flip for sure.
Yeah. So I'm envious. Anyways, any last words from the rest of y'all? Lithium?
Last words. We got
Oh my
time for last
gosh.
words. Oh my gosh.
I just want to give you a chance, Lithium. Come on.
You give me a chance to talk over you and Scrap arguing about.
I asked
who's
because he had 2
more
questions written down. He didn't get a chance to ask yet.
Oh, good.
He has 2 questions written down.
All right, Scrap, any last words?
Should we let him ask those questions?
I think I'm out of words. I'm just kind of like fascinated by when people are upset at woke stuff. Like I don't even know what they
We can talk about the Super Bowl halftime show.
They can't define it, but it's just shocking to me that that butterfly mount is too
on a
woke.
Valentine's
Like,
Day.
What is the definition of woke? Somebody tell me the definition
we're
of
not.
woke.
We don't have the time.
I don't think it's a shifting definition. It's whatever they don't like.
Yeah.
And is feminine.
I think there was a court
goalposts.
case where they had to define it and they couldn't, and so the judge threw the case out.
No, it's just a buzz. It's just a buzzword. It's really funny to me that the butterfly set them off because there's not the only butterfly.
Stop being so woke, dude.
Io, go.
I got nothing.
Is that a word?
I'm tired.
Are you gonna buy the butterfly mount?
No, you have to earn it. You have to run
it's the Valentine's Day thing. No, I'm probably not logging into retail until early access, honestly.
Because you're playing Minecraft, right?
No, he's playing.
No,
he's playing
PC. I'm playing the version of WoW that was asleep before it woke up.
He logged 1 minute on our Minecraft server, Scrap. You think he's gonna come?
And I would have logged in another minute if I got the skin before TBC came out, but I didn't.
Io, please tell me you're not gonna grind for a purple dragon because that's woke. Those nether dragons are not for.
I was actually thinking about that when because I was thinking about how earlier we were killing the moths in Tracokar Forest. And I'm like, yeah, those kind of like butterflies. And then I was thinking like the nether dragons. Those are kind of like magical Disney dragons.
Dude, if you get a sparkly purple dragon, dude, I don't know if you can. I don't know if you can show your face. It's like a little bit too woke.
Khadgar looks like Mickey Mouse.
I'm about to ban the word woke.
No, I love it. I'm about to change my name to.
It's gonna be a banned word.
I'm gonna change my name to Scrap Woke.
Dude, it
probably used to be that at one point.
I'm sure it has been.
Illidan
I'm doing
is
it right now.
Maleficent.
Oh my god.
Change my mind.
Okay. Well, that's
Frank,
episode.
Any last words?
No, my last words were Disney's expensive.
Okay.
True.
That's episode 72. We are continuing our march to BlizzCon for episode 100. I ordered some microphones. They were supposed to come in last week, but they got delayed.
Fancy.
So I'll test those out. Maybe I'll even test on the podcast. We'll see. But anyways,
delivery man woke.
Continue to like and subscribe. You don't know how much it means to us. We appreciate y'all very much. But until next week, where we hopefully will have some news. I thought we'd have none this week, but look where we got us. One of our longest yet.
Is it good to be woke or bad to be woke?
Next
I'm
week,
so confused.
Until next week.
Tell us in the comments.
Yeah.
Until next week, stay woke. We'll see you at episode 73. Take care, everyone.
Should you stay woke?
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.